Hi, folks. It turns out my friends were going to this like opening night thing, and they had asked me if I wanted to go before. It cost money. I was like, I'm good. So I stayed behind, and so this is why I have a little bit of time while they're off. I'm gonna eat dinner by myself while they enjoy whatever that other thing is. So I actually have figured out like pockets of time where they're going to be doing other things and I'm not doing it. Like tomorrow they're doing a 5K. So most likely that's when I'll do a live, when they're doing a 5K. Because the next day I'm doing the half marathon with my friend, which is like wild to me. We'll see how I... Am I still freezing? Lagging here too. How about now? Is it better now? Not now? It's not lagging now, or is okay now? Okay, perfect. It's because I logged into their Wi-Fi. Earlier I was not on their Wi-Fi. Okay, good. Yay, glad to hear it. So you know what? I was doing the math. And I think, thank you, Ronnie, I think it would just mean, and somebody fact check my math because I'm not even sure. I think it's just 2,560 people watching the whole show every day for the next 60 days. And we would pass or equal Stranger Things. Can somebody check my math? I'm not sure if that's true. Because I was like if we needed 153,600 views, and that is like the total hours divided by total runtime. I feel like the thing is, most of us don't watch to the end credit usually. I don't think so. But like, I feel like if it is 2,560 people watching just one time a day, I feel like that's so doable. Christine, how many more days are left? It really depends on, I need to get clarification, because some people say that it is 91 days from when it released in May, but I think it is supposed to be 90 days from the release in June, which I thought people said was September 11th, but somebody else said September 13th. But either way, I feel like we have at least another 60 days, which is so doable. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. So I don't know. I feel like it's doable. Susanna, what does it mean that you have an emotional block? What do you mean? Chrissy did a rewatch on Wednesday. Ronnie said, yeah, I think it can be done. Yeah. When that person said it's impossible to beat number one, I'm like, I don't know if it's impossible. I feel like folks are really determined. Jen said, let's go for it. Christine said, oh, I can get it to 100 million alone myself. Anon 39 said, what did I miss? Nothing too much, Anon, because I was just trying to fix my internet, which I did by getting on their Wi-Fi over here. And then we were just kind of trying to do the math to see how much people really need to watch the show every single day to beat Stranger Things and be at number one. Kimmy McPhee said, let's do this. We can do it. I really think we can, honestly. And I know I haven't been pulling my share. Thank you, Ashley. I know I have not been pulling my share because, well, I've just not been. I had only my phone. But now that I have my laptop, I feel like I can. So people were like, Phoebe, do a watch party or whatever. I said, well, I am gonna be off on Tuesday. So I come back on Monday. I took Tuesday off, and I'm like, maybe I could do at least one watch, and like we could watch my laptop or something like that and talk about it. I don't know if like my cell phone will die a million times or how that even works. I don't know. Does TikTok have like regulations around showing the show? But I feel like I've seen people show like television shows all the time. But it's like, is there a ding? I think they won't allow us to like, they won't allow it to be saved probably is the only thing. Because usually, like, if I were to upload a video, they would never let me upload that one. But I don't think anybody would want to sit and rewatch that on my YouTube anyway. Minnie said, no regulation, nothing spicy. Oh, wait a minute. No regulations, but nothing spicy. But there are spicy scenes. So what do I need to just, like, show the sky when spicy scenes come on and just read chats? Pear Tartelette says, okay, but is it views of entire season or what? It doesn't have to be the entire season, but the entire season is what matters. Like, meaning all of your minutes that equals into hours, they're gonna divide it by the total runtime of the actual show. And that, I think, includes the starting credit and to the end credits. And I don't feel like the majority of people watch the beginning credit and the end credit. So, but they add up all those things. So if people are just watching particular scenes over and over and over, as long as those scenes equal how long the actual show is, it can even out. But as Danielle G said, did y'all see the billboard for Polin in Times Square? Yes. And actually, I know that I got sent a message like right before all of those things talking about the one that's in the Philippines as well. And so I just wish I could remember where in the Philippines it was, because I think it's really just cool that fans chose to fund that and just show the love. You know, I think it's been necessary to have that, because I feel like, oh my word, I'm hitting my head. I feel like it's an encouragement to Luke and Nicola. Chrissy said, it took me a bit to finally do a rewatch, though, I will admit, haha. Well, Chrissy, you at least got me beat for sure. And I feel bad because I do a lot of content on them, and then I haven't been helping the cause because I've just, I just haven't been able to. I barely even got the first watch in because I kept falling asleep because I was so tired. Just Lily678 said, I just fast forward to my favorite parts. Jen said, this is to count for Netflix views. Do we need to finish the episode? No, it's again, they'll just tally up all the minutes you watch and like do it by hours divided by the total runtime, and then they round it up per 100,000. Cool. More of a girl said, I saw it was at number 4. Really? Because when I took a picture this morning, it was still at number 6. Did it already go up? Now, they did say that was as of July 14, I believe. So, I can believe it's probably up. Oh, that's so doable, y'all. When people say it's not doable, it's very possible. Minnie said, I just checked, still at number 6. But is the one I took said as of July 14. Does it still say as of July 14? Because maybe they saw somewhere else where it is more up to date. Though, I mean, obviously, you would think Netflix would be the most up to date. GL Benner said, currently watching the Butterfly Ball. Kirsten says season number 1 is at number 4. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Sharon said, even Luke asked how much of time watch was this carriage scene alone. I want to know how much of the time watch was the carriage scene alone by Luke. By Luke. How much times did he rewatch that scene? I want to know. He's wondering how much we've rewatched it. How much times did he rewatch it? Because he was saying when he was in that interview, he said he had wanted to fast forward to those scenes. So, like, you're asking us. I'm asking you. Like, how many times did you rewatch it, sir? L.Mo82 said, thanks. I just coughed since I was swallowing food. LOL. Sharon says, that's hilarious. Kirsten said, OMG, today I saw the slow down carriage scene and he was snacking on her. His mouth was full. Ronnie said, oh, Lukey. Minnie said, LMAO, Luke probably got us to number 6 just by rewatching episode 4 and 5. I love it. Jessica said it's running in the background on mute right now. Kristen says, I'm at the engagement party. B Nova says, I have it on my iPad playing in the background all day. Run to it when my fave scenes come on, LOL. Okay. Kimmy said, his mouth was full. I'm dead. Kristen said he was enjoying that part for real. Kimaro. Okay, you know what? Could you put phonetically how to say it? Because I always feel like I butcher it. Is it Kumirova, girl? You know what? Yesterday I found out. I thought I had been mispronouncing my last name for all my life. So I changed it recently because I thought it was closer to how my last name is pronounced. And then it turned out it was still wrong. And my first version of me saying my last name was actually more correct. And I was like, what? Why do I have the worst time pronouncing names, including my own? Kimorova girl said, you are fine. Okay. I just like struggle bus sometimes saying people's names. But I always want to say it properly, you know, as much as I can. Always says, episode 5 is my favorite. Great pace. Ratchy said, I wonder which scene have people watch more, the carriage or the mirror? Okay, poll time. Which scene have you watched more? The carriage or the mirror? The carriage or the mirror? So the carriage would be red, the mirror would be blue. Which scene have you watched the most? Carriage, red, mirror, blue. And as people are answering that, I mean, carriage is running away with it right now. Kristen said, is it in the top 10 anymore? It's not in Canada. It should be number 6 overall. This is like overall, not necessarily like, I think you might be thinking of like when they give top 10s on your like dashboard, but this is like of all time for the first 91 days. So that should never switch. Like they're at number 6. All they can do is surpass, but they can't like be going down or anything. Well, I guess they can if another show starts to battle their numbers that's current. Another show that's in their first 91 days. All right, so the overwhelming amount of folks said it was the carriage scene that they've rewatched or watched more than others. GL Benner said, if we got it to number 6 without really trying, number 1 with dedication will be easy. I really think it is. When that person said it's impossible, I'm like, bah, why? Why would it be impossible to reach 153,600 views within the amount of time we have left? It's very doable if you divide it by the hours, by the days, and then think about like, oh, if everybody watched a full season just once, worth of stuff in a day, you can get there. So I very much think we can find 2,560 people willing to even just watch it once a day, let alone some people are watching it multiple times a day. So I feel like it's so possible. Pear Tartelette says, I love the way you try to pronounce our names when you sound out Tartelette. It's so sweet. It makes me feel like I'm not saying it right, but you're like, oh, like that's so sweet. She's trying. KM Shoppy says the scenes without music are 100% much better. Why they add the music? Well, sometimes they gotta hide some stuff behind the music. Just kidding. Am I kidding? No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Kurt Singh says not top 10 on Netflix, but it's top 10 of Netflix all time. Exactly. MF Egg says, OMG, I missed you. Aw, thanks. Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out, like, when would I be doing these things with y'all? Because, you know, you want to be totally present with your friends when they're, you know, when you're spending time with them. You don't want to be distracted by your phone. But there are actually real pockets. Because, one, like, people want to have their alone time, and plus, there's different things that we're doing together. So it's my friend and her friend, which is, I guess, a mutual friend, but much closer to being her friend. So, like, there's 3 of us, and they're doing an event tonight. Then they're doing an event tomorrow, which is the 5K. But her and I are doing the event the next day, which is the half marathon. So there's definitely pockets that I can at least come in for a little bit and do some lives or try to put some videos out or whatever. It's just the only thing that I've decided not to really touch are DMs for right now, unless I have a little bit of downtime and I need a video or something like that and see what folks have sent me. But like, if somebody sends me something that requires like an actual response back, those I want to hold off on, because I don't think I have the bandwidth to respond with like as much meaningful interaction. Kirsten said, no, Wednesday has 252 million views. Yeah. That's why I feel like we can meet that, because there's like 153,600 view difference between where Bridgerton season 3 is right now and to just match Wednesday. GL Benner said, Carriage only because after part 1 dropped, I literally watch all 4 episodes every day until part 2 dropped. Okay, yeah. Folks are saying, you know, they thought that people watch the carriage scene so many times while waiting for part 2. That makes sense. And Philip says, Carriage is just hotter because I wanted that feralness from Colin. I was hoping for more in part 2. Sharon said, it's the kissing and groping the chest and biting the lip that makes the carriage hotter. Kimorova Girl said, I watched throughout the day. Jen said, content creators need to repost the request. Is Danielle G said, let's do this. Instead of 1 episode daily, I'll watch multiple. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's so doable. And some folks do just play it in the background. Now, I could try something like that since I haven't been putting my share in. I could do something like that. I just have to probably put it very low and put closed captions on or something like that. But it's totally doable. Totally doable. And so the next time it goes up, I'm going to feel like I was part of helping make it happen. KM Shoppy said, my favorite is the first kiss, the way Luke looks at her. Johari said, hope your day is going great, Phoebe. It is so far. Like, it's super chill right now. I'm going to probably grab something to eat in like an hour or so. I don't know what's here, but there's a restaurant here, so I'm just gonna do that. Flower with Stars says, I'm not a big rewatcher, but I put it on mute while I'm working doing my part. Katie said, I'm on episode 5 of my second round today. I will have 16 hours before I go to bed. Nice work. Elmo.82 says, you are in fact not kidding. LOL. I say just kidding all the time. So I'm not even sure what I said when I said just kidding, when I probably wasn't kidding. You're probably right about that. Because I tend to say just kidding, and I'm usually not kidding. And I don't know why I say just kidding when I'm not. Victor Moore said, I watched a whole season 3 today. Again, good job. Johari said, my grandma honestly watches it every day, so she is doing her part. Wombat6 says, watch 3 episodes today. I hope we can make it. It's really going to be interesting to see how much it jumps, you know? Lucky Ducky Ooh says, would be nice to beat season 1 at least. Oh, I definitely think we could beat season 1. I really do. Kurtzy said we would have to almost double our views. Johari said, not to mention Wednesday's also watched by kids and has been out for a few years now. Well, I mean, but Wednesday, I mean, again, the top 10 of all time views is only for the first 91 days. It's not like Wednesday's numbers are going to go up any more than it is. It just stays there. All of these numbers just stay there. The only reason our numbers are going up is because we're still within the 91 days. But everybody else's numbers should stay the same. We're just trying to pass them in the first 90 days of season 3. Lucas's mommy says, I'm watching every day till I go back to work on August 1st. Kimorova girl said, on constant rewatch throughout the day. Jessica says, I don't even care about it getting number 1 overall. I just want it to beat season 1, LOL. See, I feel like if we can beat season 1, why not just go all the way to number 1? Why not? But if we want to do like incremental, yeah, we could put our sights to season 1. Okay, what is season 1? What's season 1's number right now? Take season 1's numbers minus the current number for season 3. What's the difference? Because I'm telling you, we could probably do that very easily. Kimmy said, I thought the mirror scene was amazing. He took such care of her. It was actually beautiful. Shelly says, I've got it in the background now. It's low. Melissa says, I have so many house chores tomorrow. I will literally have it on tomorrow during laundry and folding. Jojo said, it's currently playing on loop while I do housework. Minnie says, I mean, it's kind of like multitasking in a way. Minnie said, I play it in the background while I work. It's hard to watch, but at least it's getting the views up. Kurt Singh said, as long as we surpass season 1, I'm okay. I honestly think we will. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I worked the nonprofit life for years. Like, there is something about whenever you have a goal and people are focused on that goal, especially when it has a time frame. That's another thing. When there's an explicit time frame, the people have to go hard. I have found that people go hard. Like when you have fundraising for a long period of time, but there's no end, like there's not a hard stop, people tend to give less. That's why like December is like one of the biggest times that people give, is because literally it's like people are just trying to hit end of the year, or they're trying to think about like their tax breaks or whatever, tax returns and things of that nature. But the same way with these kind of things, we have a very short window of time. People know what the assignment is. I actually think people get extra motivated when they're like, oh, and when you see yourself pass each one every day, or not every day, but like if we're able to pass at certain points and people see it's passing, then people are like more motivated. They're like, oh, it's totally doable. I don't think there's anything in my brain that says number 1 is not doable. And like, can you imagine like how much that would freak like Luke and Nicola out? Like he said, wow, for this up to number 6, like he's gonna be wow once it hits number 1. And I just genuinely believe it's not impossible. I get it's harder and people have to be all in on it, but I think it's still doable. Lucas's mom said, is it 91 days from part 1 release or part 2? That's the thing I need that's what I need to know, because I've heard people say part 1 and I've heard people say part 2. Part 2 definitely more doable, because that would be in September than it is if it was in May, and then therefore the 91 days would be in August. It gets tougher, but it's still not impossible. Minnie says, no, wow. I mean, you know, if the 6 was like 1 wow. Johari said less than 14 million to beat season 1, and we're barely over 30 days. Okay, totally doable. Come on, yeah. Okay, Kimmy said it is from part 2. Oh, but Jessica just said it's from part 1. Okay, I don't know if we should do a poll on that, because really it's there has to be a factual thing. And anybody can fact check and find out, is it from part 1 or part 2 that they're counting the 91 days? I would feel like it should be part 2, because how in the world can they say part 1 only when you didn't even get half of the episodes? I feel like that wouldn't count. I would feel like they have to say part 2. He said we may get more than a wow if the numbers are close to season 1. Oh, well, we'll see. Lauren says, if anyone needs any drive to watch so Nicola posts another behind the scenes. LOL. Mary said, plan at least 16 hours a day until the deadline. Let's go. Kirsten said, Netflix has just really started splitting seasons in half, so I don't know if it's clarified. Christina said, I'd assume part 1. Miss M said, Mirror was lovely, but Colin barely touched pen during. Embrace your lady. You know what? There's a scene, in that mirror scene, when they're actually on the, what do you call that thing that they were on? When he, like, lifts to cover her. Like, I didn't feel like that was a Colin move. I felt like that was a Luke. Thank you, Sharon. I felt like that was a Luke move. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? When he lifts the cover, like the blanket. I really felt like that was a Luke move. And because she talks about how safe he always made her feel, I felt like that was him protecting her. And I might be wrong, but it just didn't feel like a Colin thing. I felt like it was a Luke thing. Elichata said, do downloads count? I have a 10-hour flight Sunday. Ooh. I don't think so. Because I don't know if they can tell how much you've been watching it on a download. That's a great question. I don't think they can tell how many times you've watched on a download. So I think it has to be a live count. But that's a good question. But I have a feeling it has to be like a live count. Because they wouldn't know otherwise. Okay, folks agree with me that it's a Luke move. Kit says, Jess Brunel said in the podcast, we are going to get more of Colin in his lover boy era in season 4. I'd like to see it. Yeah, okay, folks are on board with me that it was definitely a Luke thing. Because it definitely felt like it. Just checked. It says we wait until all episodes have premiered. Okay, says Minnie. Okay, perfect. So that does mean we have until September. Y'all, this is so doable. So doable because there's too many fans for this to not be doable. Like too many fans. And around the world. Around the world. We're totally gonna hit it. And I think y'all will start believing it once it surpasses season 1, because it will surpass season 1. I think we can surpass season 1. Like, how much did it take to go from 8 to 6? Like, how many things? Because I think, when did they announce they were at number 8? And then when were they at number 6? How many views difference was that? And how long did it take? Okay, 1 week. 1 week it leapt from 8 to 6. And what was the difference at 8 versus 6? Does anyone know? Because this is very doable. Because went from 10 to 6 in 2 weeks. Okay, so what was it at 10? And what was it at 6? Like, what's the gap? Because I think when people are like, it's impossible, I'm like, I don't think you all realize how much time we have. And how many people were not even doing, some people were doing all the work, you know? And there were some people like myself who had not started doing the work because I was, you know, doing this other work. But like we can do this. I'm not even playing with y'all. 93.8 to 98.5. So there was only like 6.5 difference in those two, for those two. Okay, no wonder people are like, that's tough. Okay, but no, I still think we can do it. 6.5 difference only? Oh, dang it. That complicates things, but I still believe we can do it. 6.5 in 2 weeks. Well, actually, okay, so 2 weeks, 6.5. We need 14 million to pass, 14 million views to pass season 1. So that's possible to maybe do in a month. But that's, again, with people not trying. I mean, there were people trying. But some people were not trying. I still think we can do it. I just need to do some math crunching in my brain. That's views, not watch time. Yes, but that's the views is what matters. So that's the thing. Because it's 14 million views that's needed, I heard from folks, to surpass season 1. So if it's 6.5 million views or whatever, that moved them from 10 to 6, and it took them 2 weeks to do that, then it feels like it would be like 5 weeks, like a month and a week, if it was that same pace to surpass season 1. I mean, I don't think I have any doubt that we'll surpass season 1, but I understand now why that person was like, it's impossible to be at number 1. I still don't think it's impossible, but it is much harder now that you said that it was only a 6.5 million view jump from 10 to 6. Still doable, though. Still doable. Tam said it's not impossible. I've been watching almost every day since part 2. There you go. Buddhist Mom said, so I'm listening to you on my phone and watching Bridgerton on my iPad. Way to multitask. Christine said, I predict 4th by next week. If we do that, there is definitely no problems to beat number 1. Like, to surpass number 1. It really is possible. Christina said, we can do it. I believe that we can. Ronnie said, aim for passing season 1 and keep going. We can do that. Do it. Yeah. The first goal is just pass season 1, which I genuinely believe easily can be done. After that, there's just a larger gap because Wednesday was so loved. And like people said, that was for all ages for the most part. The audience was for all ages. And so versus Bridgerton has more of a like restrictive nature about who can watch it. Tam said letting it play on more than one device helps too. P Wade 45 said, what is the view equal to watching the whole season? That's 1 view. Yeah, because it is whatever your total hours are divided by total runtime of the season or that show. So yeah, in order for it to be considered 1 view, you would have to watch the same amount of minutes or hours of the show to equal that one view. And so it doesn't care which scenes you watch, just as long as the amount of time you're watching equals like the total runtime, then it's equal to 1. Minnie said, right, we have 2 whole months. That's absolutely doable. Totally doable. Melissa said, I'm curious exactly how many people are in the fandom, like total. I have no idea, Melissa, but like I think that there's and everybody's like commitment varies or their ability to commit on like trying to push it up. So it's hard to say. Sharon said, enlist Swiftie since her song You Belong to Me is Polin's wedding dance. You're not wrong. We can unite. Does anyone want to reach out to Swifties and say, can you help us? Show Nicola at the Eras tour. Say, well, like, this is like, they're saying this is impossible, but we think you can do it. Together, unite with Polin, Lucilla fans, shippers, all these different things, and Swifties, unstoppable. Johari says 17 point, and you never know, maybe they'll end up loving Bridgerton too if they don't already love Bridgerton. 17.1 million gets us to 3rd. Okay. Oh, so just another 3 point, very doable. It's just, what a huge leap. What is it? How about the 2? How about the 2? Because what's such a huge leap for number 1? Ooh, Lucky Ducky Ooh said, I have it on now. Turn those TVs on, people. Kristen says episode 6 is on for me right now. Katie Guard 88 said, if they started the total after part 2 dropped, then total was done in 5 weeks. Okay. if they started the total after part 2. So it wasn't just 2 weeks. It would have been 5 weeks to have gotten that 6.5. Is that what you're saying? Still feel like we can do it. Because I think that there was a little bit moment of time where folks were just not committed to rewatching. Some folks did not want to rewatch. But I feel like the momentum has shifted. I think the fan base that chose to do a billboard was kind of inspiring. Because to invest so much of their own personal funds to try to put that out there, try to encourage Luke and Nicola, I think that's inspiring in a lot of ways. And it inspired me at least, where I'm like, I can do my part. Like, if they were willing to do their part, I can do my part. And now that I have a laptop, I feel like I can. I feel like I could potentially just play it all the time. I would have to plug my laptop all day long, but I think I can do it. Okay, so 140,700 is Stranger Things at number 2. Oh, is Stranger Things 1 and 2 right now? Is what season of Stranger Things is at number 2? Because Stranger Things, that's right. Wednesday was number 1. Okay, that's right. I forgot. So 100. Okay, so when it hits second and third, that's when the leap is humongo. That's when it gets tough. Tougher, not impossible, but tougher. Maha said, what did you think of Ryan Wheeler's comments? I look forward to his behind-the-scene post. I mean, I love that he was back to responding to folks. I do think it's still a lot more muted than in the past, but it was still, like, hopeful. But even in the last post that he did, he was like, why can't I quit you? Which is, like, I think that's from Brokeback Mountain. Was that from Brokeback Mountain? But anyways, so I still felt like it had a tinge of romance in saying, why can't I quit you? Thanks, Sharon. Brittany says, I've had it all day in the background. We got this. Saleya said, plus season 1 had been out for years. Season 3 will pass it easily. Yeah, I mean, again, the top 10 of all time viewed is not overall, it's just for the first 91 days. So nobody's numbers are going to move except Bridgerton season 3. We're going to pass these other ones, unless there's another show that gets as much hype as Bridgerton that's out at the same time that's trying to do the 91 days. But I don't think there's any other competing show, right, that's trying to bypass and be in the top 10. I think Bridgerton's the only one in the race right now, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Tammy said, listening on my iPad and watching on my phone. Soul_collective said, I had Polin season playing today. KM Shoppy said, I saw a video that Luke said that he can't wait to start filming season 4. Yes, I mean, I did a video on that myself. Thank you, Ronnie. Kirsten said he basically said he doesn't have much left of the behind the scenes. Are you talking about Ryan Wheeler? Yeah, he's trying to figure out, like he said, he doesn't have much more films, but he does have some photos, I think somebody said. Kirsten said yes, from Brokeback Mountain. Ronnie said yes, I wish I could quit you. Hey, Mia's here. Hi, Mia. Minnie said, listen, the request for the behind the scenes really ticked me off. Like, have we no shame? Oh, you mean the one where they were asking for like the intimacy scenes? Yeah, that was ouchies. Like, the fact that Ryan had to say, hey, like, it's already vulnerable to be doing those intimacy scenes, to have another camera on you is a little bit like extra, like not the best situation. So, I mean, I think sometimes, again, people forget, like, maybe not the best to say that. Ida Pita said, just got here. How long has the live been going? I'm not quite sure when I got on. Okay, so Johari said for the first week of July, season 3 got 4 million views. Okay. For the first week of July, season 3 got 4 million views. Okay, so it cracked top 10 by 5 weeks in. Or when did it crack top 10? Somebody let me know. When did it top? Um, oh, we definitely can pass Dahmer at number 3. Kimmy says we can do this. I'm on episode 6 now. Johari said Supercell may be the one competing because it is very popular right now. Okay, but it hasn't even hit top 10, right? Supercell. Also, are all of the episodes out for that show? Did they drop all of it at once? Estella said, I wanted to at least get to the most watched Bridgerton season. I genuinely think that's easy to do. I do. I definitely think it's easy to do. Sydney said, I'm off the ship, but I'm still Team Polin. Hannah said, today I was thinking how Nicola and Luke gives Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick vibes. Sharon said, I'm on the ship long term, like Tom Daya fans were. Tammy said, maybe if they beat season 1, they will keep Polin longer in more seasons. Are you able to? Mia said, do you want to go live with me right now? Like on this particular live, are you allowed? Are you allowed, Mia? Has everything cleared for you if I did add you? And I mean, I just really want to hype folks to, I'm going to see if I can. Let's see. So I just sent you an invitation, Mia. I just want us to focus simply on trying to think about realistically how can we help things get.
I don't think I was ever blocked.
Hey, Mia.
Hi.
Hi.
You might hear some noise in the background from my nephew. Because
Okay. For some reason, I have the worst time hearing. So I'm trying to lift up the sound here. Every time I get a guest, I'm like, I can't hear my guest.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I had to put on my hat because my hair is not done. I'm so sorry. I know you wanted to go live with me last time, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to catch her. I wasn't sure, so I was like, I saw you online. I was like, let me try to do it now.
Okay.
Let me go live now, because I'm not doing anything but watching my nephew because he's being a little pain in the butt. So,
well, I mean, Mia, I've been telling folks that I absolutely 100% believe that people are like, at the very least, they want to pass season 1 in views. I think that's very doable.
They want to pass season 1 in views?
Yeah, season 1 in views. And I definitely think that's doable. It's 14 million more views. We have 60 some days to pass.
Yeah. Well,
that's easy.
I think they've already surpassed it, right?
No, they're number 6 and season 1 is number 4.
Oh, okay. As like the numbers as far as like the watch. Yes,
the first 91 days. The first 91 days, yeah. And the thing is, no, I mean, we have a game plan, and we were like breaking down the math of what it would take to get there. Now, mind you, I feel like I said we could get to number 1, but that was before I realized just how much. Somebody said it's impossible, and then I was like, no, it's totally possible. Then someone broke down how many hours really Wednesday had, and I was like, okay, that's a little bit more difficult.
It's a lot. Like you would basically have to keep it on, like repeat. Like you wouldn't just have to keep it going.
Yeah, and I think so. I think it's still doable though. Here's the thing: when I did the math, I could still be wrong here. I did the math. And it would be 2,650 people that would have to play the whole episode. I mean, all of the episodes every single day.
Yeah.
For the next 60 days.
Yeah.
You're telling me there's not 2,560 people that's willing to play it at least once a day?
I mean, their scenes are who's not watching those scenes over and over again? I mean, once you get to be fair, I think doesn't the viewing go by like, if you're just watching it, like you don't have to watch the whole season, but if you're just watching
it's based on all the minutes that you watched. So total hours divided by runtime, total runtime. So, for example, if people are just watching the carriage scene, Which, I mean, if that's the only one, that's going to be difficult. But if you watch the carriage scene so many times that it equals the amount of minutes of all 8 episodes, that would be considered one total view. Now, people are not
That's how they got there now. Because I'm telling you, I know everybody was going, rewind. I know I was rewinding, so I know.
I was sure that Luke was rewinding.
I'm pretty sure he was. He said he was rewinding, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people were rewinding. Especially when we got the mirror scene. I feel like all of their scenes have definitely been rewind, so I don't really see that as an issue. That it will not like. I think people just have to keep watching it, but we can definitely get to number 1. They can definitely get to number 1. Like. We just have to keep watching it. Just keep watching it.
No, for real.
But for me, I think I had to take a break from it because it was just like I was getting so indulged into it. I was just like, I didn't want to watch anything else. And I was like, bro, this is really bad. Like, I'm so upset. And I'm getting really bad at this. So, yeah.
No, I was telling folks I was not doing my part because one, you know, you've been doing this TikTok, Instagram thing way longer than I, right? So I was just trying to figure out my own life. Like, how am I, like, how can I, like, look at things, read my DMs, respond back to people,
Girl.
have, like, try to be an adult, like, adulting. And so I have and plus I didn't have a laptop. I finally bought a laptop. So now I'm like, okay, I can play it in my laptop.
Yeah.
And then that's I'm going to start doing my part when I get back. On Monday night or something, on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's some people who were kind of doing it, but not really, that I feel like are on board because there's a deadline. And whenever there's a deadline, people are ready to do the work.
Yeah. Because they got to get to the end of this month, right? It's got to be good to the end of this month.
It's until September 11th.
Oh.
We've got so much time. That's why I said 2,650.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely.
I almost want to create an Excel spreadsheet and just be like, folks, put your numbers in. Tell
how many times you watch it? Watch it 5 times per day.
Like, this is how we're gonna get here.
Right. This is the goal. This is the spreadsheet. This is how we're gonna get from. This is the end game. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, it's definitely doable. You just got. I mean, it's funny because it's Bridgerton is one of those shows where you kind of just be like, you're in the mood to watch it, so it's just like, I want to watch Bridgerton, and you just end up watching it. But I feel like because we got such a great season, you can't help it. You're like, I honestly am trying to watch other stuff to kind of cleanse myself, and it's not working. And it's like, it's really hard. But I don't want to stop watching it. I'm definitely gonna probably watch it again. It's just I'm trying to get like out of it for a minute because I'm so. I mean, between the content and then Luke and Nick are a whole nother like. That's a whole nother subject to even cover. So you have like Bridgerton, and then you have like Colin and Penelope, and then you have Luke and Nick. So I've been trying to like pull back a little bit, but it's not easy because the fandom loved, like, that's most of the Bridgerton fandom. They love them. They're just a very hot commodity. And I always knew that they were going to be that. Ever since they stepped on the screen and they dropped that first photo in 2019, not 2019, but in 2022, when they announced they were season 3, I just knew that they were going to be, I just knew. I was like, watch them break numbers. I was like, watch. Just alone by one picture, I was like, I knew. And they did exactly that. So I'm just like, it's like you don't want to not support it, right? It's like you want to watch it over and over and over again because you know how great they are. So, yeah,
and I mean, honestly, I was saying to folks, like, seeing that billboard, and I know that they did it not only in Times Square, but in the Philippines. But it's like that kind of commitment. I was like, that actually really inspired me to go, like, whoa, if people are willing to do that and to show Luke and Nicola our undying support, like, we can do this. Yes. We genuinely can do this. Yes. Because that's big time to me.
To do this. It's amazing because for me, what I didn't like was I knew they weren't going to be nominated for Emmys when they had split it. And that's what hurt me about it because I was like, why did they split 8 episodes, it's 2 parts. And so I think that's what really hurt me, because I was like, they're not going to even be nominated for anything. Like, I know that Liz was nominated for a BAFTA for one of the scenes that they did. So, but that was for her separately, like as an intimacy coordinator. But them as a whole, not being nominated for a BAFTA, like not being nominated for an Emmy, that really bugged me. It still bugs me, because I'm like, they probably beat every other season. They beat Queen Charlotte. Like, Queen Charlotte was like
a big
top notch, and
yes,
now they beat out Queen Charlotte. So I mean, it's just really unfair that they can't be nominated for anything. But I'm pretty sure
they can be nominated next year, right?
I think they can, yeah, next year.
Even though, like, people are worried that they're going to be forgotten by next year.
No, we'll never let them go.
But that's what I said. We would never let them be forgotten.
I feel like that's the fear. Is like, we were just saying, like, I was talking to my group chat. I was telling them, like, the fear is that they're going to end up overtaking Benedict, because I feel like Benedict is season 4. But because Luke Thompson doesn't have a social media and Luke and Nick do, they're going to end up overpowering that, because people are going to want to see them. Like, they can drop one. This is how they work. They can drop one picture right now, and everybody's going to go back and watch the show. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how monumental and powerful they are. They can drop one picture, and that's it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they're never going to not be the topic of conversation. As long as they have fans, and fans who are vocal. That's the difference between a lot of the people in this fandom, is that they don't have vocal fans. Like, a lot of Daphne and Simon fans, they're not as vocal. A lot of like Cantony fans, they're all on the behind the screen. But Polin fans, when Polin came, people were vocal. It was like, we want everyone to know about this couple, and that's exactly what we did. We spit it out. We talked about it. We did our part in making sure everybody knew about them, and that's why they got the numbers that they do, and that's why they're so. It's monumental as it is, because they drop one picture and the whole internet gets shut down. That's just, so that's why I said nobody's going to ever forget them. Nobody's going to ever forget them.
And I think now I came so much later in this whole process, and I heard from folks that before the season had dropped, there had been a lot of negative speak around them as a couple, and so I think the overwhelming support probably meant the world to them, because they had heard some of the negativity, and so I'm sure they were girding themselves for like, what is the response? I
think they were more scared of the response. Like, when they got chased off Twitter, that was major. Like, I was there when they both got off Twitter. I was also there when Nicola had to literally make a video about like people under her comment section saying like, Penelope doesn't deserve love. How dare she do that to Colin, Eloise? And she had to make a whole video like, guys, like, I don't.
I remember now, because when she was like, "You do know that I'm just acting, and I'm not Lady Whistledown."
I don't write the scripts. Like, I just act my job out, and it hurt me when I saw it. I remember when it came out. I think I made like 6 videos saying like, "Don't come for Nicola, leave her alone." Like, I was cussing, like it was really bad, and I just was like really, really mad, because I was like, "Why are y'all coming for them? Like, they didn't even get a chance. Like, they hadn't even got a chance," and it was just like. Everybody was still talking about Cantony, which again, I understand Cantony. I love Cantony. I don't have any, like, discrimination of any like couple in this fandom. I'm ready for Benedict. Like, I've read his book. Like, I'm ready. I'm an actual Bridgerton fan. I just really love Polin. That's it. Like, they're my favorite book. They're my first book I read out of the whole series. So I just have a special place in my heart for them. But I'm excited for all the couples. But at the time, they really were just like, nobody wanted to see them. Like, that Facebook group on Facebook, if you ever go to that Facebook Bridgerton chat, they still talking about them. Oh, they were okay. I didn't really like them. I just don't think they did that great. I mean, it's consistent. Just, but before,
so what is it about Polin that they were so not for?
I have no idea. Like, it doesn't make any sense the way that people hate them. Like, I will never understand the hate that they get and why it's so strong and passionate. And then like it's like they really don't like them. And then during that time when all that started, that was the whole reason why I started being vocal about them, because it was like when I started reading the book, I was like, oh my God, I love this book. And then when I went to the Facebook group and they were just like, ew, I don't want to see them I don't want to see them partake in activity, or I don't want to see them do this because, I just don't think they're not going to be young, old enough, and he's not really that attractive, and she's not attractive.
Oh my
Nobody wants
goodness.
to see her body. I mean, it was really, really bad. And I was just like, why are they getting so much hate? But the one person who was getting the just hate was Luke. Luke's been getting hate since season 1. He's been getting hate. And I will never understand why everybody hates that man. It makes no sense. But he was the first one I started going hard for, because that's all I kept hearing about was Reggae and Jonathan, Anthony and Simon. And I was just like, what about Colin though? Like, Colin is that underdog that don't nobody really see like that. So I was like, what about Colin? Like, Colin is hot. So I did everything in my power to talk about that man as much as I could. And in 2022, when all that stuff was started, I just started talking about him. I was like, Colin's so fine. Colin's so this. I was like, ooh, Colin. Ooh, Colin's this. Like, I just went crazy. I just started going crazy about it. And it just kind of made a lot of the girls who love Colin, they just started coming out more and like, I love Colin. Colin so this, Colin so that. So that love for him kind of boosted, at least on my end, like for me making content. I can't speak for the whole fandom, but from my end, when I was talking about him, people were like upping him. So, but you would still get those few people who were just like, yeah, I don't like him. He's not that great. I think I had one lady say he's like white bread. I was like, what? Just horrible, horrible things. And then Luke, as far as Luke, for some reason they don't like Luke. I will never understand why they don't like Luke. I would think that Luke did something to these people personally when they come for him. Because I'm like, did Luke steal your mom? Like, did he do something to your mom? Did he kill your cat? Like, did you get him did he get you pregnant? Like, what happened where y'all hate Luke to this point where it is like a passionate hate for him? Even when Queen Charlotte came out, it was, Luke's gonna have to do better than Corey, or Luke's gonna have to fill a big shoes to fill with Corey. I said, how you gonna say that? Luke been in the game longer than Corey. That's disrespectful to Luke. Because you're talking about somebody who's been in drama school since he was a child, and you're disrespecting him by saying Corey is better. Corey just got out of film, like he just got out of acting school. You're talking to someone who's been in the game a little bit longer than Corey, and you're saying he's gonna have to do better than Corey. That's like saying like somebody who just came out saying you gotta do better. Denzel Washington gonna have to bring it. What is Denzel Washington? He's like a phenomenon. That's crazy. So it's like that type of disrespect. Like, you don't have to disrespect him because you like Nick. Like, that was the other thing. Like, people disrespecting him because they like Nick. Like, okay, you love Nick, but you don't have to disrespect him in the process. Like,
oh, Mia, there was a comment by Miss M like 2 days ago in the chat. I wish I could remember exactly what Miss M said, but it was talking about like how upsetting it must have been for Nick to have strangers, quote unquote, try to defend her against the person that actually knows her. Exactly. I've never understood the mentality that I'm defending Nicola. How are you defending Nicola?
Yeah.
You don't know her and you're attacking one of her best friends. Like, how is that she already says it's hurtful to her. She already said in an interview, live pause. Okay. She already said in an interview that like the reason she would get upset at Demois is because he would say lies. And she wanted to defend Luke. But sometimes she just felt like it's a waste of breath because sometimes people are just going to believe the lies.
Yeah.
Because they want to believe the lies. But the fact that they know that she comes down like Mama Bear on anybody who tries to, that's why like the minute that TikTok was misunderstood by folks, they did a concerted effort as the two of them to just go, let's kibosh this as quickly as possible. Took down that video, both posted stuff, proud Lukey and Newt's
been a proud Lukey Newt's fan since 20 years.
Yes. So she has such deep love for him and he has deep love for her. And people like overthink, I think, personally, I maybe you think differently, but the liking stuff, because to me, here was my personal take. Right when that TikTok thing happened, I felt like Luke felt that he needed to like everything 5 seconds after it was put up. But to me, that's not Luke. Luke doesn't like things immediately. He usually has a few days. Then when he went back to kind of the normal pace that he likes things, that's what, like, I felt like that was more like him. But other people are like, oh, he hasn't liked this yet. He hasn't liked. But I'm like, but he doesn't typically.
I don't know why people focus on the like so much. I really don't understand that. I mean, for me personally, when that all started, like, the liking can get you really, like, that's like the one thing in the fandom that can get you really, like, boggled down by so much. That will have you thinking that the person don't like the person. That will have you thinking that the person don't want to talk to the person. That'll have you thinking all this stuff. And it's like, even with, and I'm not trying to bring up the girl or the girl that people think he's
yes, please don't.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, like, even with that, just by the likes, it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it'll have you thinking something that's probably not even nothing.
It's not. It's honestly nothing. I mean, here's the thing. I can't imagine how I mean, I think it's exhausting. Personally, just even thinking about it, it's exhausting to feel like you have to like everything. Because it takes, people think it's gonna just take 1 second. Not if everybody's watching everybody's social media and going like, why aren't you liking this? Why aren't you like I am tired just thinking about it, because even as I'm going through my DMs, I feel bad because I'm like, I'm not responding fast enough. I can't like every single thing because I might not have seen this video yet. I need to watch this video, then I need to like it, and all these different things. I can't imagine their like amount of stuff that they have to be looking at. And then people are like, why are you not liking things fast enough? You know? And here's the thing, like, I remember when she brought up in the interview, how Luke was one of the first people to text her on her birthday. And people were saying that there was backlash against Luke at that time because he hadn't posted something on social media about her birthday. But in actuality, okay. Because you're muted, so I don't know if you're trying to tell me something. Is she talking to somebody? She must be talking to somebody else, because I'm like, oh, you were muted if you're trying to tell me something. Were you talking to someone else?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now because you're not muted now. But were you saying something to me the whole time?
No. I was talking to my sister. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that it could still. I didn't know it was gonna still keep me on the live, even though I was on the phone with her. But no, I wasn't talking. But no.
Okay.
But yeah, no. Talking about the likes, like, yeah, the likes, like, like I said, when that all started in the beginning, when I started out in the fandom, like, that was a major thing. And I noticed that's a fandom thing, like, the likes and stuff. If they're not liking each other's stuff, it's so big. But I think because for so long, Nicola was the main one. I think that was why people got so iffy about it, because Nicola was the only one that was, like, really, like, commenting on his stuff, liking his stuff. Like, but I feel like Nicola is also online a lot. Like, she literally said that she's on her phone more. But we've also heard Luke say, I'm not online like that. So you're not going to get a lot out of me. And I feel like the fandom kind of attacks him for not liking something. And it's like, leave that man alone. Like, it's okay. Like, it's great to see him like something, but it's like, you don't have to. Like, there's so many things that he didn't like, but I also feel like with Nick, he doesn't have to do that, because he's like, he talks to her on the phone, but he also said he prefers to talk to someone on the phone or video them rather than, be on social media.
He likes his voice notes.
Right. And that's another thing. Like, I noticed that she does, like, I just feel like that's why that's why Nicola is more present online, but he's not as present. So, but I think he's been more present now since everything has been coming out to see, like, what's going on. But I just hate that all the stuff that had been going on the past few months have been negative stuff. It had just been so negative. And it's just like, again, I hate that, because no matter what's going on in his life, nobody should ever judge him based off of his personal life. And I feel like, yes, we might not like certain things that are going on, but we can't be like, I'm going to stop supporting him. he's horrible, he's this. No, he's still an actor. He
Mm-hmm.
still does his job. He's still a great actor. Like I still support him no matter what the decisions are. But I feel like that's something that the fandom, a lot of the new people in the fandom are not recognizing, because we went through a whole couple of months when he was in a relationship. So it was like we were still supporting him. We still loved him. It wasn't no hate towards him. But it's like now it's like, oh my God, it's so bad. Like when they said they called him a pedophile, that really hit me here. Like it hit me in my heart, because I was like, y'all really tarnishing this man's name, like for what? Like for what? Because it doesn't. It's unnecessary. Like again, I know we all have our personal feelings, but that was unnecessary to me. I'm sorry.
Do you think that the conversation will change once some news will come out around him getting a new job, like a new project? I mean,
because that will take away the vision, like not the vision, but that'll take away the attention off of his personal life and kind of focus him on doing a film, which I think we're all waiting for. I think we all want to see him do something great, because we know, again, Nicola and Luke are separate entities. So we know Nicola is doing her jobs or whatever she's doing, even though she's been very quiet lately. This is very unusual for her. Being in this fandom since 2022, this is extremely unusual for her to be this quiet. It really is. But again, we don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on, but that's why I'm just like, hey, I get it, whatever. I'm not trying to get too deep into it. But as far as for Luke, I feel like with Luke, like, yes, I feel like once he gets a role, I think we're all waiting for that. At least for me. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, like, I really want to see him do a movie. Like, I want to see him do a movie or get cast in another show. Something, because I just feel like he has so much talent. And when you've seen, like, when I've seen him live, I've seen the man's talent in my face, and it's like, when you see that, you're like, bruh, I want to see you do more. Like, I want to see you not just be stuck on this plateau of just being Colin either. Like he said in that magazine, he doesn't want to just stay being Colin. He wants to branch out, and I'm like, branch out. Whatever you feel like you need to do to branch out. Like, because I feel like I would hate to see his talent just get limited to one thing, because he's so good. And I'm like, I would love to see him branch out into different roles and different genres, just to see where his, where he would
the villain role like he wants.
Yeah, just to see where he would take those characters in new roles. Like, I would love to see that. So
he does great eye work. Like the nuance he does with his eyes.
It's his whole face. Like, he is the most expressive person I've ever met. But what I love about him, even though he's good with drama, what I love about him is he is funny. Like, he is really funny. And I'm like, I don't get why nobody has picked up on his comical yet. Because he's really like that awkward comedy, like those movies that I like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up. Like, those are the movies that I'm like, he will be so good in, because those are those comedies where they're just like being themselves, but they're adding a little bit of comedic twist to it. And it's like those really just raunchy, like, everyday comedies where you're seeing people go through everyday life, but they're bringing that comedic twist to it. And I'm like, that's him. Like, that's literally him. And I'm like, why hasn't nobody snatched him yet? Like, and then when he said, like, on the interview, that's why I said a lot of people don't listen to their interviews. Like, I am an interview listener. Like, I listen to everything they put out. Well, no matter what it is, that's why I know so much. And people are like, how do you know this? How do you know that? I'm literally like, I'm a fan. When I say I became a fan of them, I became a fan. Like, I really became a fan. And like, I wanted to know everything that I could possibly know about the both of them. And so when you really listen to their interviews, they tell you everything you want to know. They tell you everything. You don't have to question it or worry about it. That's how I knew when I saw their behavior for this tour. I was like, this ain't right. Like, this is off. Like, this is not Luke and Nick, bro. Because I swear to you, like, when you go from not seeing any interaction, I mean, no. I mean, this man don't even talk about this girl. The most you heard was Nick say little things about him. But when you go from that to what we got over the past 6 months, I was like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is fake. I don't know if I'm dreaming. I don't know. Like, I was just telling someone today, I was like, If you would have told me 2 years ago that Luke and Nick would have been acting the way they were, I would have been like, you're lying. You're a liar. You're a liar for sure, because that is not the same Luke and Nick I saw back in 2022. Like, that was not the same people that I was looking at. But what's crazy about that is that we always knew something was there. We would go back and watch their videos, like the French interview and all the stuff they did. We just always knew there was something there. We just didn't know what it was. We were like, there's something there, but we don't know.
Because it couldn't be explored at that time.
No, because it was like one of those things where they couldn't really say anything. As they said, we had to suppress a lot of our emotions for each other, or whatever they felt for each other. So I felt like all the stuff that we saw, like in season 1, you saw it, but it was just like, what is that? Like, what is that exactly? Or when you saw like the little videos of him behind the scenes, like walking up beside, like she'll be standing here, you just see him kind of walk up. In every interview, like every little moment in the video, you would see him walk up beside her. We would be like, what is that? Or he would go like there's a video from season 2 where her marker, where they're in the church, her marker was on the other side. He literally goes and moves her marker closer to him. And I was like, what is that? Like, what is that? So this just like,
what is that?
Yeah, what is that? Like, what is that? And then like their little sly looks they would give each other in like those little interviews they were doing in season 2. We would be like, we saw that. What is that? What does that mean? Like, what are these looks? So again, we always knew something was there. We just didn't know what it was. So when you go from that, when you go from not having any content to looking at the same 6 videos over and over and over again, and then you get to 2023 and they're like, oh, well, we're not going to get the season until 2024. You're like, what are we going to live off of? Like, what are we going to have to just, okay, I guess we don't have nothing. So we were in a drought for months. Like now, like, that's why we're so used to it. Like, I'm so used to this drought of not getting anything, because we were in a drought for a whole year until they dropped the rap party photo. That blew up the internet. We all lost our mind about that. I had a panic attack. That was like a whole situation. So then you go from the March to June where they dropped the booth picture. That sent an alarm, because it was like, okay, hands on hips. What is this? Luke and Nick. Like, what
I was like, that looks like too comfortable, like too, like it's been there before.
Because you're just like, you're at that time, it was like, again, what is this? Like, we've never seen this. Because when you've seen him in the past, his arm was always on her shoulder.
Oh, I wanted to know that, Mia. When was the migration? I was like, when did the migration happen?
Oh my God, the migration happened. So all the way, so if you want to count from 2019, their photos have always been intimate, but never like that intimate, not like booth photo intimate. It was like, oh, this is my buddy. This is my friend. This might be my best friend, my close friend. This is my good pal. But then when you get to June, it was like, this is my boo. This is my baby. This is my girl. And I was just like, this hand is sending a lot of shockwave right now. And I don't think he realizes it. And it was just like, so yeah, it went from, I would say from 2019 to 2023 of March, we had not gotten anything like that. That's why when it happened, you see the likes it got 1 million likes. Because nobody had ever saw that. It was like, we was like, what? Is his hand? What is this? That was it. So that's why after that came out, we just automatically assumed, because everybody thought they were together. But you still had haters like, no, his hand is closed. I was like, do y'all not understand the trajectory of his hand going from her shoulder to her hip? Like, we've never seen this. We talked about the same man who did a whole interview and did not even speak her name to a hand on a hip. So, like I told people, like, so when you get that and then you come to now, you're like, what? Like, it's like, wow. So that's why I was telling people, like, this is new. I'm just as shocked as the newer fans. For people who are just seeing it for the first time, I'm just as shocked, because it's like when you've seen it over time, but you knew something was there, and then you finally see it come to fruition. And then when you get all the backstories to everything, you're like, oh, that's why this is like this. And that's why that was like that, and that's why this was this way, and that. So it was like, for me, it was like a lot of questions answered that I always wanted to know. But for the new fans, they're just like, what is this? Oh my God, they're faking it. It's PR. I'm like, y'all don't understand the journey that Luke and Nick have given the older fans. Like, this is a journey. So to see it, it was amazing because we've never seen them interact. That's why when I made the chemistry video, Nick liked it because nobody ever talked. Everybody would say they don't have chemistry. That's what everyone said. They don't have chemistry. No, they don't. They don't even like. They like each other. They don't even like each other. And for so long, that's what I'm saying. Like, now, people were saying like, Luke was like, first it was Luke don't like Nick. Oh, Luke doesn't like Nick. He don't like Nick because of her body. He don't like this. He don't like that. And it was like, Nick is so down bad for Luke, and she's just out here. It was just all of that for so long last year and the year before. Then we get all this stuff now. Now it's Nick don't like Luke. Nope, he doesn't like. And it's like, bruh, what is? Pick one. Pick who don't like who, because it's not making sense. But I think what it is like I've always said, I think they both like each other. It's just whatever they have going on, we don't know the truth. Like I've always said, there's something there. We just don't know the ins and outs of every detail, which is fine. I don't need to know every ins and outs of every detail to know what the heck is going on. Like, they show you who they are. He's been showing you. They've been showing you. You don't have to really be like, oh my God, I need to know this, and this. No, you really don't. It's in your face. But I think people just pick and choose what they want to see and what they accept. But for me, being in it, I knew when I saw it, I said, oh, this is why this was like this. Like, it was like questions were answered for me personally. And that's why I felt like it got ruined, because so many people were saying, it's PR. And I'm like, y'all don't understand the battle that I've been through for the last 2 years trying to figure out what this was.
Well, you know what, too?
Yeah.
I think, too, is the idea that PR equals fake. It is PR because it is public relations. It is getting people invested, but it doesn't mean it's fake. And people kept correlating PR equals fake. No, I think actually PR folks would have told them, can you pull it back a little? They weren't saying put more. I think most PR people were like, could you pull it back a little? Because this is a little too much. This is too much.
If you notice that when April hit, when they did that first trailer and they were sitting on that couch for TikTok.
Oh, yes.
That, when I promise you on everything, when we got Valentine's Day, I even was like, okay, Valentine's Day was just a warm up. They was just like, yes, we're going to give y'all whatever we got, and they're going to chill out after that. I was like, okay. And they got months in between. I said, yeah, they're going to calm down. I was like, Valentine's Day was just a warm up. We're not going to get all of this. When that live started and that video popped up on the screen and I saw how close they were, I said, okay. I remember I was at work and I was just like, all right, what is this? And then as I was watching it, I was just like, what? Why are y'all so close? What is happening? Like, it was like, it just kept unfolding in my face, and I was like, what?
When she turned around and said, we did it.
Yes.
And when she turned around, if he had turned around at the same time, they would have kissed. Like, that was how close they were sitting.
I mean, between the hand action, the looking at each other, when she was right here in his face.
Yes.
And I'm like, if he would have turned, like, he literally was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm like, Jesus, like, they were so close on that couch, and I was like, this is not normal. This is not
normal.
I'm trying to tell people this is not them. Like, this is a new version of them because I've never seen that. So I was like, y'all, this is not fake. Like, this is real. Because I've seen, that's why I kept telling people, like, I've seen them act normal. I've seen them be like, we are on two separate polar opposite sides. So to see that, it was like, what the heck? Hold on.
Mia. Okay. I was going to say once Mia comes back, but I'll say it again once Mia comes back. But they knew because of when Golda came and Adjua came, they separated. They suddenly knew how to not be sitting so close to each other. Oh, my word. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Mia?
No, what did you say?
What I said, they knew They knew that what they were doing was not normal because the minute Golda came and Adjoa came, suddenly they knew how to separate.
They was like, they was like,
respect for the queen.
Nope. I know, even when oh, thank you. Even when when Ruth was up there, the whole makeup thing, that really was like,
oh yes.
Like when he said there's a little mark, and I said, why? Oh, thank you, Mom. So no, it was like, he was like, yeah, there's a kiss mark, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll never kiss you again. I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is happening? That's why I keep telling people, like, when you come from not seeing that to seeing that, you know it's not fake, because you've seen them. I've seen them be polar opposites. Like, they act like they don't even know each other's in the same room. I've seen it. So to see that, it was like something's happening, like something's going on. But the fact that they were so close like that, and then the next time you see them, they're literally being told to like calm it down just a little bit, like bring it down a little bit. And you can tell they were told to bring it down, because after that, like, you barely saw them even touch. Like, they held, but even when they held hands, that was like,
Can I ask you a quick question about Italy?
You said what?
Can I ask you a question about Italy?
No, what was the question about Italy?
Okay. Oh no, my question about Italy is, like, some folks had thoughts around some of the interviews. They seemed a little bit like like they were more
annoyed.
Like, yeah. And then, like, sometimes it felt like they were talking, like the paddle when she hit him on the leg with like mixed messages, or and also because I wanted to see what it was in order, because by the end of the night they were fine.
Yeah.
But it seemed like there was something between, I don't know when, but something happened where it seemed like there was a little.
Definitely happened. So that was like a deep dive. Like, so we know from Australia, after Australia, they left Australia. We didn't know what was happening. And then we knew he was in New York because they saw the video of him and Jonathan in New York going to a play. So we knew he was in New York, but we also knew that he was filming Kelly Clarkson. So, but that's when that stuff from the April with the Polaroids dropped, and everybody was comparing the girl and the So that's when that happened. But I don't know if that was why Nick was upset. Now again, when she dropped it, there was 2 songs that she dropped at that time, and they were very like on her stories, and they were very like breakup-y, like, you can go back to this girl. It was like, we could go back to being friends.
Very millennial.
Very millennial. Like, I'm gonna post a song about my feelings because it's how I feel right now. Like, it was very that. And then the next thing we knew, when we saw his photo for Kelly Clarkson, I paired it up to the photo he did back in February. He had that same face. It was like this stone face, like, of like just annoyance or disapprove or whatever. So then we were like, something's off. Like, we just kept saying, like, in my group chat at the time, we were like, something's off. Like, something's completely off. She posting breakup songs. Like, something must have happened. So then we fast forward to Italy, like, they're going to Italy, and we see her wheeling out all her suitcases, right? And we're like, why is Nick by herself? Like, what is going on? She wheeling out these heavy suitcases and stuff. We was like, something must be happening. But then when we actually saw the footage from Italy, I just did a whole video to that. Like, it was so much passive aggressiveness in the interviews.
Yes.
Like, there's one interview, she was showing out. Like, she was like, oh, she's just over this boy, and, you know, because she's really giving up on him.
I was her friend.
Right.
I would tell her.
I would tell her she needs to go ahead and move, because
there's other fish in the. I mean, there's more options in the ton or something like that.
And she's looking at him, and he's like, "Yeah, I wonder what the friend was saying when he comes back." Like, and he was like, the friend would be like, "Oh, you've lost your chance." She was like, "Yeah," but she's like, "I guess she really likes him though." I was like, "What's all of this passive aggressiveness?" And then when they got my favorite interview, when they got to that one interview where they were like sitting separately. And he was just like, so they want to know if our character is different. He was like, no, yours. He's like, mine is easy. But yours is like, you know, you got the double-headed sword here. And she was like, oh, I know. I don't know if I have a double life. Or maybe I do, because, you know.
I think I missed that one.
Oh no! Oh, you didn't see that one, girl.
I don't like what as you're describing it. I don't remember it.
It was the
I can't
corn.
believe I
It's
don't
on,
know this
it's
one.
on Google. No, it's on YouTube. It's called The Corn. It's the
Oh.
corn is the corn is the name of the news outlet, but
Okay.
it's on YouTube. But that interview was so tense. You can see it in his face. He was like, you have the double-edged sword, and she was like,
Oh.
oh, I have a double. I don't. Do I have a double life? She's like, well, maybe I do. She's like, but how I am on the like in public and how I am in my house are like two different things. And he was like, oh yeah. He was like, well, I guess we all have a little bit of lady whistle down in this. Yeah, she's like, I think we do. I was like,
Oh wait, I want to watch this. I have not seen this at all. I am so I am like
now?
my interest is piqued.
Man, and I never said anything to the interview because I thought people were gonna be like, no, you're reading into it. I was like, I'm not reading into I know passive aggressive behavior when I see it. So when she made the statement like she was like just a random thing. She was like, the way you talk to your boyfriend and the way you talk to your grandmother are two different ways. So what I got from that was whatever she said to him, he didn't like it, and he was like, you don't need to talk to me like that. But I also tracked that because at the another interview he did, remember he was like, you should keep talking like Penelope. If you keep talking
Yes.
that's why I was like, she said something to him and he did not like it. Whatever it was, she caught an attitude. She had like a smart mouth about it, and he was like, no, I'm not having it. Like, no. But I knew like when he ended that interview, he was like, first of all, I knew something was going on because they never say, like when they say, oh, how was it working together? They always say, oh, it was great. They was like, terrible. It was terrible. She's like, yeah, I wanted to meet him. I was like, meet me out in the parking lot. I'm going to knock you out. I was like, what?
Okay, I need this link. I need this link.
Oh my gosh, I'll send it to you.
I missed that one.
It's on YouTube. It's The Corn. That's the name of the
Okay.
news outlet. But that interview is so funny because you could tell something was going on. You could tell like the tension and the passive aggressive words back and forth. When he ended it with, she was giving like a description about something about Penelope and Colin, and he said, no, that's everything. I don't think nothing else needs to be said. And she was like, okay. And I was just like, oh
There was
my
one
God.
interview where somebody did an edit where they split the screen, and it was the first time I was like, oh, I can tell the difference in this interview because Luke wouldn't even look at her, and Luke usually looks at her even when she's answering. She doesn't tend to look at him when he's answering, but when she's answering, he tends to look at her.
Yep.
And I was like, he's not looking at her, and that's unusual.
Yeah, no, he was very like, in Italy, when they first got there, it was like, stay away from me. I don't even want to talk to you. But you could tell it was just like a lot of like, just passive aggressiveness. Like whatever was happening, it was passive aggressive. But towards I would say like the last interview we got, they came together. You could tell they were still like a little bit of tension there, but they were like trying to hash it out because they could tell like, because even the interviewer, when you watch it, you're going to hear the interviewer, after they give that first answer, you're going to be like, okay, so what? That answer had nothing to do with the question. Like, even when she made the question about the friend zoning, what is you saying that you giving up on? First of all, Penelope never gives up on Colin. She would never. You and Colin get together at the end of episode 4. So what are you talking about? She's giving up on him. So, and I'm like, what does this have to do with the question, man? This has nothing to do with the question.
I love how they hide behind their characters.
Oh my God. In Italy, that was all they were doing. Like, he was saying the thing about Colin and Penelope is that even though they always have these challenges, they can't help but be drawn to each other. I was like, that's them. They're talking about them. Because
I always say this, Mia, like whenever he has brought up Ross and Rachel as the for Colin and Penelope, I was like, in what world? In what world is there missing each other? There's never been a time. Like I was like, the closest thing that is kind of like Ross and Rachel is because like Ross had been pining for Rachel without Rachel knowing, but it's the missing the moments and like every time they made an attempt, it didn't happen. I'm like, what attempts? Like once you knew, you went. That's Colin.
In the book, Colin doesn't really connect with Penelope throughout none of the other stories. So he's not in throughout the books and the other stories. Colin's not dating anyone. So how are you missing each other if you're not dating other people? And then the truth is that in the book he just realizes that he loves Penelope, and then he just really falls in love with her. And then after that, they never break up. Like they're never not together anymore.
Yeah.
In the show, he has one relationship.
Uh-huh.
And it's not even a relationship. It's like a situationship. And like, how are you missing each other? Because Penelope still is not with anyone. So how are y'all
not even dabbling?
right? So the only thing I can think of is, again, if he's talking about that he can talk about his real life, because was he not in a relationship when he met Nicola? Yes. Well, he met Nicola first, and then he got into a relationship, and then she got into a relationship, but then they broke up. Like, she broke up with her boyfriend in February, but he was still with his girlfriend. And then when the season came, I don't know what happened. So I'm like, who are y'all talking about?
Yeah, that's too. I mean, they literally. I was like, when he said that, and he says it a lot. He uses that analogy a lot. I'm like, you're talking about yourselves, like as real people, not.
Like,
we can tell the difference between Colin and Penn and Luke and Nicola in the description. Because if I'm thinking Colin and Penn, I'm like, it makes zero sense.
No.
Zero.
Maybe a little bit of show Colin, because show Colin and Penn, because every time Penelope tries to like go and confront him, it's like he's not quite there yet. But there's no relationships involved. There's no like he goes off and marries someone else and she's in it. It's never that. But
never.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so confused. Like, he's like, they just can never get there. I'm like, y'all have to eventually get there. That's why I used to get so mad when people would be like, I ship Colin and Penelope. I'm like, how? You can't ship two people who are already together. Like, they're already together.
Oh, that kind of reminds me, real quick, Mia, on Ryan Wheeler, when people were like, are you sure he knows it's Lucilla we're talking about? I'm like, what ship do you think he's saying? Like, I'm going to get the buckets. I'll have the buckets. I was like, of course he knows it's Lucilla, because Colin and Penn are together. There's no rescuing that ship.
Can't ship two characters who have a book.
It's sailing.
I don't get it. Like, I used to tell people that all the time. I used to be like, you cannot ship two characters who have a book. They have a book. So they have an end story. They have a whole story that says, hey, this couple gets together.
Yes.
And then from what we know from Julia Quinn, every couple is promised they're happily ever after. So that's why it used to make me mad. Like, oh, I ship Penn and Colin. And I used to tell people, well, too bad. They're already going to get together. So it's weird. But I was like, but like, it would be so funny because like in an interview that he did for season 2, he was like, everybody's shipping Polin. I was like, no, we're not shipping you, Polin. We're shipping you and Nick. It's definitely not Polin. It's definitely not Polin. We're not shipping Polin because Polin has a book. We know they get together. We know the whole story. We know your story, unfortunately. we know your story because like Luke had lied so many times, y'all. Like, I swear, like, first he said he didn't read the book. Like, it was an article he did. He said first he didn't read the book. Then he came back and said, well, I only read the first book. Then he came back, well, I don't read the books because I don't know how. No, he said, I don't really know how Colin would react because I've never read the book. Or he said, I don't really know how Colin would react because I'm not sure. I was like, you're lying because you said you read the book, but then you didn't read the book. But then when Nicola came back last year and was like, well, me and Luke read the books at the beginning of the season. I said, what is all this? Who's lying? What is all these lies? Like, what is all these lies? So it was just funny that he kept saying like he never read the book, so he didn't know when, like, what Colin was gonna do or how. I'm like, you're lying. You know how Colin's gonna react. You know. We all know. You just try to act like you don't know.
Which one do you prefer, Mia, or do you have a preference? Book Colin or show Colin?
I love Book Colin. I mean, I love both Collins, but Book Colin was my favorite because he was so like he was demanding. Like, he was like, that's why I said like Book Colin and Penelope are Bonnie and Clyde. Like, once Penelope and Colin got together, they were like, you can't stop us. Like, you can't stop us. You're not coming against us. Nothing was coming against the love that he had for that woman. And again, it was based off of one kiss. Like, he kissed her in the book. and he never went back after that. Like, he immediately like started being so invested in her life. Like, that's how he found out that she was Lady Whistledown, because he was following her. And then he followed her to the church, and then he pulled up on her in the church, and she was like, Polin, oh my God, you're coming out the shadows. And he was like, I know you're not here doing what I think you're doing. Like, what are you doing? And then she's like, my favorite part in that whole line, when he was like, you're going to need prayer by the time I'm done with you. Who are you? Who are you, Polin? Who are you to tell me that? Like, you're not my man. Like, what are you talking about? That's why I love that book, because he immediately, like, attached himself to her with no like second thought about it. And it was like he was claiming her after a kiss. He claimed her. So I could see in the show where they kind of tried to do that. Like, after he kissed her, it was like he was invested in who she was with. The jealousy, all that stuff was starting to happen, and I get that. But I feel like they didn't capture the fullness of his like I don't want to call it possession, like a little bit of assertiveness about the love he has for her. Because that's the thing about Colin in the book, is like, he loves Penelope undeniably, and the love that he has for her is so deep that people thought that he was mad about her. That's why the thing I didn't like about they did in the show was that they had him being mad about her being Lady Whistledown. He didn't care. He did not care about her being Lady Whistledown. He was more about her protection, like her safety, like, because in the book, people were going to come after her. Like, he was concerned about people actually coming after her in the book. So his mental game, anytime she would like do something that was treacherous or like something that wasn't like, you're putting yourself in danger, he would get mad. He'd be like, why are you doing this? Like, I have to protect you. Like, you don't understand the depths of how I feel. Like, I feel like I have to protect you. You're mine. You're my wife. Like, they kept speaking those things in the book. Like, he was like, you're mine. Like, they kept saying that, you're mine. You're mine, aren't you? You're mine. You're mine. And he was like, she was like, you're not mine yet, or you're not my husband yet. And he was like, oh, I'm not? I'm not your husband yet? Or he'd be like, you're not my wife. She'd be like, oh, I'm not, but I am going to be your wife. Like, they were very like, it was like, that's why I said they were crazy. They were crazy in that book. But when they got to Cressida, no. When Cressida came in Black, that's why I was like, why did they not give him that intensity in the book? Because when they got to Cressida, Colin didn't even hear what Penelope was saying. All he heard was, Cressida wants money from me. And he just, in the book, they literally said his face drowns out, and he just starts like pacing the floor. And Penelope's like, Colin, he's pacing the floor so bad that she's scared. And she's like also turned on, because she's like, he wants to protect me and I love it, but I'm scared because he might kill this woman. And she's just like, Colin, are you okay? And he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And it's like, whoa, Colin, what are you gonna do? And she's like, no, Colin, like, tell me we can do this together. Like, I don't like how they didn't have them tag team at the end. I don't like how they had her mom be by her side. Her mom don't even care about her. Like, that's what made me mad. Like, her mama didn't even care about her. Her mom only cared about her because she was marrying Colin. That was it. But it was like this reconciliation she felt like she had to do with her mom. But it's like, in the book, she didn't reconcile with her mama. Like,
oh, really?
No, after Colin told her mama off, they left. She was done. Oh. That's what I'm saying. You never really heard from Portia ever again in the book.
Do you think that they had all the sulking and all this extra stuff like that took away from a lot of that's like being together, being a united front kind of situation? Because I heard from folks that Lady Whistledown never wrote about the Bridgertons in the book.
She didn't.
Is that true?
She never wrote about the Bridgertons.
So I think because they added that extra complication.
Yeah.
Did she write about Marina?
No, Marina was a cousin to the Bridgertons. She's not even a cousin to the Feathers. She's the Bridgerton's cousin, which is weird because, yeah, she's the cousin to the Bridgerton. So that's why I was like, Colin marrying Marina or trying to be with Marina, that's nasty. That's your cousin. And like, it's weird. But that's why I was like, in the book, like, when I read Benedict's book, she talked about the Bridgerton, but the thing about Penelope in the book is she wasn't as harsh. Like, he was just talking about like the gossip that was happening around that she heard. But when you learn in the book, she only did it because her dad's solicitor got her doing it. So it started off as her writing in her journal, And then that turned it, and it like papers flew out the window. And her dad's solicitor was like, "This is really funny. Like, you should keep writing this." At first, it was as a joke. Like, it was really just her writing as a joke, and that it turned into a profession. But it was never like about gossip. It was just about like, it was about like people she didn't like. Like, she would literally talk to people she didn't like. So she didn't like Cressida. She always talked about Cressida. She didn't like Cressida. It was just about people she didn't like. But she never talked bad about the Bridgertons ever, except for, I want to say in the book, in Benedict's book, I can't remember if she did a column, but I know the end of Benedict's book, she ends it with the column going into book 4, which is their book. But I can't remember if she wrote anything bad. But from what I know, I don't recall her really saying anything bad about the Bridgertons in book 1 or book 2. I never read book 1 and book 2, but I'm pretty sure when I skimmed through it, I don't really remember seeing anything bad written about the Bridgertons. Now, I know she probably wrote about like the wedding stuff that happened in book 2 and like maybe some stuff that happened in book 1. But book 3, she did not. Like, when I read Benedict's book, you rarely heard from her in book, and you rarely heard from her in book 3. So, and then after book 4, she's gone. Like, Lady Whistledown's not even appeared in any more books. So that's why I feel like the way they had it was like, I just don't like the way they had it. Like first of all, Colin did not like marriage. I don't like how they had him trying to find a purpose. Colin didn't care about a purpose. He really didn't. Like, Colin didn't care about no purpose. He didn't like no women. Like, they really gave Benedict's character to Colin in the show. Because Benedict, Colin in the show is book Benedict. So
Okay.
Colin that you see in the show, that's Benedict in the book.
Okay,
Interesting. In the show, that's Colin, because Colin don't care about marriage. Colin literally ended Benedict's book saying, "I don't want to marry Penelope. Like, I don't want to marry anybody." Like, he came back from traveling like, I disdain marriage. Like, I don't want to be married. In book 3, he did not want to dance with anybody. Like, when Benedict left to go find Sophie, and I'm giving book spoilers, sorry if anybody hasn't read the book, but when Benedict goes to find Sophie, Colin goes out to the terrace and he's like, "Why did you leave me in there with those girls? You know I don't want to dance with nobody. Like, I can't stand dancing with all these girls. They get on my nerves." Didn't that sound like Benedict? Like, that's all Benedict. That's why I was like, I don't know why they switched their characters. It makes me so mad that they did that, because I felt like Luke could have played that epitome of being like that darker, I would say more darker, but yet, because Colin's character in all the books, or just Colin's character in general, is like this rugged, like dark, like, I'm a mysterious, I don't mess with nobody, I have a twisted dark soul, poet, writer. He's like that. Like Benedict, like, I'm a dark artist. I don't like love. I'm not trying to be in that like that. Like, that's how Colin is in the book. And so that's why when I saw the Colin's character in the show, I was like, they made him so sappy. That's not Colin. Like, Colin is not sappy. Colin is like, what? What did you do? Like, that's why I kept telling people, like, Colin is a thug. Like, he's a thug. He's a real thug. Like, I don't know why people didn't see that. Like, the beginning of Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, Penelope literally says that Colin has this smirk that, of course, the famous Colin smirk, that she said it's so deceiving that he could commit a murder and she wouldn't believe that he did it. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that means that he's that crazy that he has this look on his face that you would think that he would never do no wrong. Like, nothing. He would do no wrong. But like Benedict, he's the sappy one. He's the one that's like, no, and and I'm so giving away book spoilers, but in Benedict's book,
Book spoilers, folks.
sorry guys, book spoilers. In Benedict's book, like, Sophie goes to like a really traumatic situation. Benedict doesn't even know what to do. Like, he's like, I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, he knows it's wrong and he knows what she's going through is wrong, but he doesn't know how to respond to it. And he was there at the event when it happened. So it was just like, I don't know what you want me to do. Very like lost, not all the way there. And I'm like, that's how Colin is in the show. Like, I don't know what my direction is. That's why I was like, why did they do that? Because Colin is the smart one. Colin's the more determined one. Like, I'm telling you, like, once him and Penelope got together, that was it. you wasn't pulling him. Like everything after that, like all the way through, I would say even Eloise's book, it's my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife, Penelope, Penelope, Penelope. Like he's not playing. Like that's why I was saying. Like I'm so confused at why they did that to him. But yeah, no, it's like Benedict and Colin they really switch up their characters, and I hate that because I felt like we missed out on a huge opportunity to see him be a real husband to Penelope in a moment where she really needed him to be like her ride or die. And you took that and gave it to her mama? Why? Her mama don't deserve that. Like her mama did not deserve that. She does not deserve that privilege to stand there while she's telling the queen who I am. That's not her. That's Colin's job. Because when Colin found out Penelope, that Cressida blackmailed Penelope, Colin was ready to kill Cressida. He was ready to kill her on sight. Like, he was not playing about her. And then it was Colin who was the one who said the thing about telling the ton about her being Lady Whistledown. That was Colin's idea. But like I said, I think it was okay that they switched it to make it Penelope's idea to come out to the ton. But I would have much rather had her pair up with Colin and do that than her mom. Like, and then I would much rather have Colin be by her side than her mom. Because it made it look like Colin was being a sap. Like, I don't want anything to be... Like, Colin was more about himself, not about Penelope, and that is not Colin. Colin don't play about Penelope. Colin is all about Penelope. That's why I said, like, who did y'all write this show about? Like, who is this show about? Because it's not about Colin and Penelope. Like, Colin and Penelope are Bonnie and Clyde. They're crazy. Like, they are crazy people. She's crazy. That's why I compared them to Joker and Harley Quinn. Because they're both crazy. Like, she likes his crazy side. She likes like that chapter 17. I love chapter 17. He literally puts her in the dark. He's like teasing her in the dark. She's like, Colin, what are you doing? He's like, oh, you don't like me touching you in the dark? She's like, I didn't say that. I'm just saying, like, turn on the light. They're crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy, bro. And that's why I was telling people, like, people are always saying, like, oh, Colin's so abusive. He's not abusive. He's just assertive. But he never goes too far with Penelope in the book. He never, like, gets abusive with her or, like, hits her. He always takes it to a certain level, and she bring him right back down. She be like, it's almost like she's like, Colin, chill out. And he's like, okay, I'll back up. But he always takes it to a certain point, and then she be like, okay, Colin, you need to calm down. But he never, like, when he said the thing about Penelope, you're not gonna, he was like, be careful what you wish for, Penelope, because you might not like want to see the side of me. You might not want to see that side come out of me. She was like, I think I do. Crazy. They're crazy. They are crazy. I'm telling you. They're a crazy couple. That's why I was like, I don't know who that was in the show, but that was not Colin and Penelope. That was not Colin and Penelope. Colin and Penelope are crazy. They are crazy. They are lustful. They lust after each other. They're horny all the time. Like, they're both angry. They have like these little temper moments where they pick at each other's tempers. They're crazy. Like, they're really crazy. That's why I was like, who is this show about? Because Colin and Penelope are psychotic. But I feel like that's why they pulled a lot of his anger scenes. They did a lot of reshoots to calm down his anger. But I felt like Penelope matches his anger. So that's why I was like, why didn't you just make her push back at him a little bit? Why does it have to be so, passive? It was so passive. I was like, you're not passive. Colin and Penelope are not passive.
I wonder if we'll ever see those scenes, the original ones.
We'll probably never see them.
Okay, I just want to give people a heads up that I can only stay for 27 more minutes before we continue to talk with Mia. Mia, I just want to ask your permission. I do upload these things on YouTube, and anytime I have a guest, because I can't actually DM you,
No,
I need to ask you formally on here.
No, you're fine. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, great.
People were DMing me. I have to turn on my DMs because people literally be DMing me stuff, and I just be like, I can't.
Protect your peace.
I have to. As long as I've been in this fandom, I have to protect my peace because with everything going on, I will get questions left and right. That's why people be like, Mia, do you know this? Mia, do you know? I'm like, nope, don't ask me. Don't Don't ask me anything. I know nothing. I know nothing. But yeah, no. But
Ooh,
yeah.
can I ask you, Mia?
Yeah.
Like, you've had opportunities to either be liked or favorited by Nicola. Like, when was the first time you realized she actually even saw your stuff, and how exciting was that for you? Or
So my
what was
first
that?
time, that was in 2022. I did this video where it was like me like doing like it was a video, yeah, where the guy was like, it was like a sketch. And it was like, the guy was like, it was like something like this right here. Like, and it was like all the Bridgerton books. And I was like, respectfully, like I'm like a Bridgerton fan, respectfully. So I posted that to my Instagram. And this is why my Instagram was not, like I had no following. I was just like posting stuff. And then I posted that, and then I tagged her in it, and she liked it. And I was like, oh my God, she liked my video. So then the second video I did that she liked, it was one where I was doing like Colin, like kind of serenading her while she's like with suitors. And so I did like a whole sketch. And so I posted that to my Instagram, and then she liked that, and I tagged her and she liked that. And then the third time it happened, she actually commented something, I think. And I think it was like, no, it was on TikTok. So when that hand thing dropped and everybody lost it, and I made a video to it, and I was like, this right here, it is what it is. And like in July, she favorited, but I didn't say anything like I did recently. I didn't say nothing about that. I was like, oh my God, guys, like she favorited the hand video and looked on her hip. But I didn't say nothing about it. I was like, I'm gonna keep that one to myself. I was like, so then after that, the fourth time she did it, I think I was promoting something on her, like I was promoting her shirt or I was wearing something. She's commented on my stuff a lot. So like, I think I was wearing a shirt, and she was like, I was like, this is cute, Nick. And she was like, you're so cute. And I was like, thank you, boo. And then there was another time when I did the chemistry video, and she liked it, and she was like, oh my God, this is so funny. Like she did the little hearts. And then another video I did where I was doing like the voiceover where I was acting like Penelope's backup, and I was like, girl, Colin gonna do this to you. She liked that. She commented on that. And then she did recently when they came out with the book where they had her book cover. And I was like, why did y'all do that to Nicola? Like, y'all need to change the book cover now? She favorited that video I did. And then I did a big mood thing for her, and I was talking about big mood. She commented on that. And then recently about the engagement ring that just everybody hated me for that. And I was like, how is it that this woman has seen me at least 10 times?
Which is so exciting, Mia.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I think I'm so used to it now. Like when she comes and blesses me now, it's like these random times, and I'm like, she's gonna bless me eventually. But that with the engagement ring, again, I got so excited because I thought she was defending me because I was getting hate for just reporting the news. Yeah. So that's why I reshared it, because I was like, see guys, Nicola's trying to tell y'all I was just reporting the news. But then when she commented, I was like, oh no, like I wasn't expecting her to comment on it. But it was just like, I wasn't trying to brag about it. I was just like, see guys, y'all are attacking me for just reporting the news. Ciao. So that was that time. And then that was the first time I actually responded back to her in a comment. So, but she's always like, bless me. Like I said, she's always come and bless me, every blue moon with something, whether it be a favorite or she favorited the one video I did where I was doing the carrot scene and I was acting like I was like interrupting something. She favorited that. Like so she always comes and blesses me every blue moon. That's why I was just like, for people to get mad about that, but not get mad about the other 11 times she's commented to me. I was like, that is so crazy. Like this woman I've been talking to this woman since the day I started this content, and she's always came and blessed me somehow, to now where people are like, oh, I'm tired of Mia. We need to get her off of TikTok. I'm like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I didn't do nothing. Anyway.
Well, yeah. I always, like, whenever I hear of folks that get to, like, experience Nicola like recognizing their content, it's like, oh, there's hope.
Yeah,
like
no,
maybe
there
someday
is.
she'll see my stuff.
Yeah, no,
You know?
keep putting your face out there. Like that's pretty much what I've done since the beginning. Like I've just always put my face out there. I'm comical, as y'all know. I'm very comical, so I'm always making up ideas and stuff like that. So just, I think she just likes people who are themselves, which again, be yourself. That's all I preach about as well. Like just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I do is
Yeah.
just myself. So
For real.
when I started this out, I was not expecting any followers from it. I just read the book and I just started talking about the book and people were just gravitating towards the way I was explaining it and how I was breaking it down. And it just grew into something. It's really crazy because when I tell you, I promise on everything, I was not expecting this type of hype that I have now. Like I was just like, I just really like this book and I want everybody to know how much I like this book because it's really good. And it turned into something now where I went to meet these people and I've met half the cast and it's just it's really amazing. Yeah, I've met Golda.
Oh my word, that's exciting.
Yeah, Golda actually DM'd me. Like I met she DM'd me. Yes, I took a photo with her. She like has watched my stories before all the time. She's always looking at my stories. She's commented on my stuff. She shared one of my videos one time on her story. Yes, and then I've had most of the cast like view my stories on Instagram. Luke used to view my stuff all the time. Like I used to tag him and stuff. He used to view my stuff all the time. And that's why when I met him, he was like, I know who you are. And I was like, whoa. Like, back up. I was like, no, sir. He was like, yeah, I saw you sitting in the front row. He was like, all the TikTokers are out. And I was like, wow. I was like, I'm here with you. You're not supposed to know me. But yeah, I've met like half the cast. I've met like, I would say about 6 people so far. And hopefully I get to meet more. I really want to meet Jonathan. That's the next person.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't met Nick. That's the only person I haven't met. But I've always said...
You haven't met Nicola yet?
No. But I've always said when I meet her, that interaction is going to be like, you. No, you. I'm like, no, you. You. Like, it's just, I just can tell like it's going to be a real interaction because she's so real. And I feel like she's such a loving person. And I really love her. And if I met her, I wouldn't even talk to her like a fan. I'll be like, girl, like it would be very real. So, but yeah, it just, I mean, like I said, I've been in it so long and I've been like one of the main people who really hyped Polin. Like, again, I can't speak for everybody else, but when I started, people started really paying attention to Polin when I started talking about them. And most people that have all connected with in this fandom, they came through me. So like people who were following me connected to other people, or they connected to me, and then I introduced them to other people. It was always like this connection that people kind of came to me for, and then I kind of just helped people out in the long run. So it's been a blessing and a curse because it's like I've gotten a lot of hate for it, but then I've really like introduced a lot of people in this fandom who created friendships and bonds through my content. So that's all I've ever wanted to do was just be a beacon, but just also just be myself and make people laugh because that's me. I'm goofy, so I've always thought just make people laugh. So yeah, that's always just been my MO this entire time, ever since I started doing this. So the fact that like when you told me the other night, you were like, Mia's here? She like a sister? I said, no. I am just a regular girl, just trying to who loves Bridgerton. That's it. I love Bridgerton, but it's like, again, I would have never thought just from reading a book it would have gotten to where it's at now. So that's why I said, just be yourself. Just be yourself. If you have an idea, if I don't tell you anything, if you have an idea, just do it. Just start recording yourself and post it because you might not get a lot of views on it, but somebody will see it eventually. And then if
for real. You know what, Mia? I absolutely 100% agree with you. When I started, my content was on June 5th, and I laugh when I say content now because literally it was just what had happened was I had been texting one of my friends stuff about Bridgerton, but my friend, she was the sister of my friend who found out he has renal cancer, right?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's been tough because I've known him since we were kids. However, because all of that stuff is happening, of course she's not going to be texting.
Yeah, she's going through a lot. Yeah.
Like, this is pretty low on the priority list.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just need to talk to somebody, and nobody in real life wants to talk about it. So let me put out some videos. One of the videos that I had went viral. It went to 1 million views in 11 hours, and I didn't know if that's fast for a viral video, but I was like, it went fast. I privated it at 1.5 million because I just didn't like what was happening in the conversation. And so then I just started like doing content and whatnot. And someone had actually asked me recently, like, what would you suggest about like making, if I wanted to create my own account? And I said, know who you are. And I said, and also know what you will and will not do to gain followers.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest things I said is like, I understand. And I said to people all the time, I am not going to be the content creator for everybody.
Nope.
And I am not trying to be everything and everything to everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, there are certain things that I will not talk about.
Yeah.
And I sent people off, and I said, hey, you know who would like Claire? I always say, if Claire would love to talk about that content, go to Claire.
Go to Claire. Yeah.
Because I've had people who know my stance about like I don't talk about Luke adjacent things, and I actually also wouldn't talk about Nick adjacent things.
Yeah.
So I just want to focus on Luke and Nick. So if somebody gets in my DM, says, hey, I want to talk about this, is it okay? I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But like, here's another person you can discuss it with, because I do believe you should have an outlet. And I know that there's other outlets for this, and I'm not going to be that for you necessarily. Yeah. But I love sending people off to other people. That's why I make sure that people know where original sources are and send people that way. Yeah. Well, one of the biggest things I think to me is like, I said, sometimes what I ask for decreases my audience, but increases my peace. And sometimes people need to decide for themselves. Like, sometimes I think that's why some folks feel like they have to endure like the negativity or whatever. It does not stay very long on my page, because you're blocked like with a quickness. Because to me, it's like this idea that you can come at people and have no consequences to that action, and you're going to get unrestricted access to folks.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how it's going to go. Like, this idea that this is the way social media works.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to just get the beatings, and you're supposed to get the negativity. I'm like, look, I don't care what people do in their own space. They can talk crazy, they can talk negativity about me. Other people's opinion of me is none of my business. Yeah. So, like, just as long as you learn to just keep it to your circle. I don't care if people are saying negative things about me. One of the biggest things is I want those to follow me to protect themselves. I'm like, don't get in the middle of a spot and try to defend me. One, because in social media, it ends up feeling like a dog pile. I'm not asking you to dog pile on folks. What I'm asking you to do is protect yourself. People are going to think things about me. They're going to think things about me. It doesn't change my character. Nope. I said, like, reputation is just what people say about you. Character is who you are. And if you don't know what your character is, you're going to get so affected by wanting to protect your reputation.
Absolutely. No, I get it. That's why I appreciate you for coming to my defense with that video, because about them saying that I made a rumor, because if anybody knows me in this fandom, I have always been a supporter of both of those two. I've never not been a supporter. I'm probably the most loudest supporter of the both of them. And I feel like when you're tarnishing my character to make it seem like I'm something that I'm not, when what I was doing was basically trying to tell people, this is why you don't believe these things, because I gave you no proof. I gave you nothing. And you're continuing to use that and what I said and make it into something that it's not. But also, at the other part of that is I can't stop it. I can't stop that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had to think about it the day that that was happening to me. I was like, do I just stop? And I was like, no, I put too much work into the content that I've made, because I don't just make Luke and Nick content. I make all different types of content. But I wasn't going to just stop. I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I could just give my side of the story and do that. And if you don't believe me, you don't believe me. But to hear that traction back from the fandom, and they were just like, no, Mia, we know you. We were there when you said it. And I was like, that really made me feel good. And then when you did the video and someone sent it to me, I said, oh my God, and you worded it so well. And I was like, Oh my God, I literally started crying. I was like, this is exactly
Oh.
what I was trying to do, because they were called, when you start calling somebody a pedophile, that is like unacceptable. That is unacceptable, especially for him, because he hasn't done anything. So it was just like, that was just like so bad for me, and that really hurt me. And again, I don't know if it's because I met him, so I feel like I have a little bit of like a little bit of soft spot for him, for me. I don't know what it is, but it's like I did not like that when they said that he was a pedophile. I did not like that. So I was just so grateful for you for doing that for me, and just not even not saying doing it for me, but just speaking on my behalf on that. Because I can speak for myself, but when I have other people stand up for me and be like, no, like this is not what she was saying, or even the way you worded it in a way where you weren't directly talking about me, but you were saying that this is what this is about. And I knew that's what you were saying. I knew you were talking about me, but it was just like, I liked how you did it in a respectful way. Like, you didn't say my name, but in a way it was like, I knew you were talking about me, but it was just like, I felt seen, because I was like, this is all I was trying to do. That's why I shared it. I was like, this is what I've been trying to do the entire time. But like you said, you cannot worry about what people, as you become more popular in this fandom, or just more popular in general with your content, whether you take your content out of Bridgerton or whatever, you're going to get so many haters. Like, there are going to be a lot of people who don't like you, and you just have to kind of run with it. You just got to be like, okay, I mean, I don't.
That's when you know you're doing something, Mia.
You're doing something.
I mean, if you're not getting people to despise that you're existing and living as yourself and fully like as yourself, you're playing it too safe.
Yeah,
you're playing it too safe.
When you're not getting no haters, that's all I was like. That's all I was like. When it happened, I said, this is probably what Luke has to go through all the time. People just saying things about him, he can't do nothing about it. Or this is what it is. I immediately thought about those two and the amount of hate that they got, and I was like, if they can sit there and be like, you know what, I can't do nothing about you hating me, because I know who I am. I know who I am, so you can't tell me who I'm not. So I just gotta continue to live my life and make my content. So when I immediately tapped into that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let somebody on Twitter, I'm not even on Twitter, and they turn on me over on Twitter. I was like, dang, I must be really important for y'all to have a whole phone conversation about me and trying to get me off TikTok. Dang, I must have really hit a nerve for Nicola just even noticing me. And as I said, like, it wasn't that Nicola noticed me. It was the fact that this is not the only time Nicola has noticed me. That's why I was trying to tell people, like, you coming at me for this, she's done this plenty of times to me. So that's why I'm like, this bothered you? Wow. Like, that's crazy. But
and I will say, and I do want to put this on record, because people did reach out to me from the other perspective of this whole situation, right? And so one point that they did make, and I think you probably, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I think you could understand this perspective that they came with, was that the example was very delicate. And so, and I said, I could understand that.
Yeah,
I just definitely felt like there were moments that could de-escalate the situation. There were many points that the thing could have been de-escalated, and it didn't have to go to what it became. But I think also, so because I mean, there were several videos I did that I eventually ended up privating, just simply because I did keep it vague, because I did not want to invite more people into the drama that didn't know, but I wanted to speak to the folks that did know it, right? So when he was starting to get out even further, and I was getting too many, like, what is this? What is that? And I'm like, look, if you don't know it, like, just stay there. Like, stay not knowing, right? But the thing is, I did acknowledge that it was a sensitive topic, and I understand the upset around that. I think they only, because they probably saw it on your page, the one thing where it was saying, hey, like, we need to keep things in context. Like, the minute it comes outside of the context, that's an issue. But so I think they ended up feeling like, well, you're siding with this person and you're not seeing our perspective. And so I was trying to think, like, can I make another video that recognizes their perspective? And the thing is, I felt like I had done a video around understanding the sensitivity of the topic.
Right.
And I think that they had wanted more like there were things that they had hoped for in regards to their engagement with you that I was like, that's outside of my scope.
But also you also can't, what I've learned about this is you can't please everyone.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is exactly
Yeah.
why I turn off my DMs. It's
Yeah.
nothing against like I've always said, the people who know me, they know me. And they know I don't, that's not me. So that's why I can't appease the people who don't know me. Like if you just, well, Jamia, you're wrong for that. Well, you were wrong for calling this man a pedophile. I don't really see the two situations of what I said about the fake rumor that I addressed at the end of the live, saying that everything I said in this live was a fake, to the comparison of you guys calling this man a pedophile, because they're both very harsh terms that you shouldn't use in general. Because you calling a man a pedophile, for God's sakes, like I just heard Kendrick Lamar call Drake a pedophile, and I'm like, that's gonna mess him up. Like he's been classified as a pedophile, and that's a sensitive topic. So to me, the fact that one was more harsh, but them calling him a pedophile wasn't harsh, that was where I was like, the fact that y'all find that okay, you're okay with calling this man a pedophile and tarnishing his name, but me just mentioning a rumor that I'm literally saying that is a lie. I'm literally telling you it's a lie, just to give you an example of why you shouldn't believe rumors about that said thing about you're calling this man a pedophile. That's what I was trying to do. But at the end of the day, you can't make everyone happy. You can't. As a content creator, you have all these followers. You can't make them all happy. You got, I don't know how many followers you got. I got 16K followers. I can't please everybody. I could just be me, and if you like it, you know. If you don't, you don't. But I can't be trying to wreck my brain like, well, I try to do it this way and I try to do it that way. Don't ever wreck your brain trying to do that, because you will literally be trying to make everyone happy. I did that. I'm just saying I did that in the beginning, and it gets tiring. It gets mentally tiring because you're like, well, I don't know how to word it. I don't know. That's why I just talk. I'm like, listen, I don't like her. And if you don't like that I don't like her, then that's on you. I don't care. Like, that's why I have to be like vocal about it, because I can't, there's too much going on in this world to not be real with people. I can't, like, we're not in a psychology session. Like, we're not in a therapy session. I don't have to be like, well, Jess, how did the ins and outs make you feel about your situation with that person? Did it not affect you in a certain way? No, you're not paying me to therapy you. I'm gonna be like, you need to stop talking to her because she sounds like she doesn't like you. You should probably stop talking to her. I don't have time to give you the nitty gritty. I'm just gonna tell you what's up. And if you don't like it, what can I do? I can't do it. But I'm telling you, do not ever feel like, well, if I try to explain it this way and then they're getting mad at me, that's why I turn off my DMs. I just turn them off because
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you've seen some of my stuff. That's just naturally how my brain.
I've seen your stuff. You do so good at explaining stuff, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, everybody who came to me and told me about you, they were like, she explains stuff so well, and I was like, she really does. Like, she really breaks it down in a way. You're like the person who does give the information about the person who's trying to keep it real. You're like, this is what she's trying to say, guys. In a nicer way. I can't be nice because I've lived through so much in my life. I've been through so much stress and like pain in my life to where I don't have patience for people anymore. I'm like, you don't know that you haven't walked in my shoes. So this is why I'm interacting with you the way that I am. It's never to be mean. And I always say that I'm not being mean. I'm not being malice. I'm just being real. But when you coming at me, I'm come back at you. Don't ever think that I'm never going to snap back at you. Like, that's just who I am. Like, you're not going to tarnish me. I'm just going to block you. But for some people, they're easier at explaining things than I am. But I always make it seem like it's not that I can't explain it. It's because why do I need to give you 15 minutes of my time to explain something that's probably just as simple, just if you don't like it.
Yeah. And also I think it's a matter of like, people, you need to, if you are going to invest that emotional bandwidth or emotional investment, you want to feel like the other person is actually going to be receptive to what you're saying. And if it
Absolutely.
feels like I'm going to give you an explanation, but you're not going to believe me anyway, and you're still going to think negatively, like, why am I going to make that investment?
And that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
You can't
And so
stop people.
yeah, so because it reminded me of like a video I did where I was talking about it feels like a lose-lose situation with Luke sometimes. So going back to Luke sometimes, it felt like a lose-lose situation. And so I hope, and I'm not saying it does feel like a freeing thing for Luke, but I said I hope it feels like freedom for Luke, because if it's a lose-lose situation, choose the one that's for you. Choose
Exactly.
the one
And I
that's
think
for you.
he's doing
You're never
that.
gonna win.
I think he's choosing himself by staying quiet because
Yeah.
I think he can't do it. First of all, this is why he's not online. But
Yeah.
like you said, like it's for me, I don't know how many nights I've had a hurt chest because I've been trying to go to bat for this man. And now I get what Nicola feels like. Like you can't stop all the hate from him. But all I say is what you do is you just uplift him. You just keep that's what I do. I just keep talking about him. I just keep talking about him. I keep bragging on him. Because when he does come out and he does do something great, what y'all gonna say then? What y'all gonna say then? Y'all not gonna say that. Y'all gonna be quiet.
I'm actually very excited to
God.
go and support him whenever. Like I want him to feel like this is one of the things, and it's 7 and I gotta go. But I just want to say this.
Yeah.
I love Luke and Nicola together, but the thing that hurts my heart sometimes is when people talk as if Luke cannot stand on his own. And the thing is, Luke is his own person. I love what Nicola brings out in Luke, but Luke is his own man. And I feel like sometimes people minimize him, and they don't need to. And I want people to remember that the thing that moved Nicola when they were reading tweets was the one that said that it was his time to shine. And he took that tweet and he put it in his pocket because it moved her, which moved him. But it was like what made her happy the most was whenever there was a compliment towards Luke that talked about he gets to shine. He'll be the internet's boyfriend. Like she wants him.
Always. Absolutely. That's why I said that's why I told people you can't be a fan of Nick and you're talking bad about Luke. That's why I said, I know that they're separate entities. I think what I love about the both of them is that they both carry that same passion. Like that last interview they did on BBC 5, that interview was so beautiful because you kind of saw their balance of how they really are together, which is probably why we want them together so bad, because there's this balance that they have that is so beautiful. Like the fact that they both are Luke is more if I want a role, I'm going to work my butt off for this role. I'm not just going to accept anything. And it just shows where his mind is. His mind is on quality about, I'm going to have, because what he's done with Colin, he's never going to be forgotten for that. 9.3 billion views for
amazing.
You're never going to be forgotten for that. So for him, I think he's all about setting laying a stone, leaving his footprint. That's what I want to say. Leaving his footprint in the sand. This is what I did. This is who I am. You will always remember me for this. So I think he goes after these challenging roles rather than Nick. Nick is more about the experience. I'm doing this role because it connects me to more people, because she's a people person. So she likes to connect to people and she likes to do this. But Luke is more I want to leave my footprint on this thing. And however I can do that, that's what I'm going to do. But they both have this ambition, we're both hungry for something. No matter the outcome of how they do it, they're both hungry for it. That's why this season was so good. Because they both tag team put that same drive together and developed the season. And that's why this season was so good. Along with Jess and the rest of the cast, they tag team, they got together, they listened to the fans. This is another reason why we appreciate them. Who actors is listening to their fans? Nobody. So you're why do you go so hard for them? Well, they thought about me in a time where I didn't even really think I had a voice, but they heard my voice, and a lot of the stuff that they got in the show, I know some of the stuff that I asked for, it got in the show. The proposal, I remember making several videos about that proposal. I was if Colin don't propose to Penelope like this, I'm gonna be so mad. And the fact that made that in the show, I was bruh, I felt heard, because I was bruh, this is why we love them. This is why we go so hard for them, because no other couple is doing that. No other couple has done that. They don't connect with the fans like that. And Luke and Nick literally say they appreciate the fandom. They appreciate their fandom. But why not? Like, this is why we want them together. This is why we're like their therapists. We're like, bruh, y'all don't see it? Like, y'all don't see each other? Y'all don't see how great you are with each other?
Do you not see what we see?
Yeah, you don't see what we see? Like, we're your family. It's like, we're your family. We see you. We love you. Like, it's never out of a malice place. That's why I said it's never out of a place to be disrespectful to their partners or whatever. It's just we see something that you guys clearly should definitely see. And if you don't see it, we'll make you see it. We're gonna make you see it. But
Absolutely.
yeah, but I just feel like that's why we go so hard for them, because they went hard for us when they made the season. They thought about us when they made the season, and that's why the season did so good. Yes, some of the writing was not the best, but I don't blame them for that, because their performances as Colin and Penelope was top notch. Like, I would have never asked for anything better. Like I said, maybe the writing a little bit was off, but their performances were just, I mean, I wouldn't have asked for anything better. But again, to the people who don't know that, that's why I said, like, this season was not for it wasn't for show watchers. It wasn't. It was for book fans, because the book, they were literally like listening to the book fans. They were like, the book fans want this, and this, so we're going to put this in the show. That's why people were like, well, I don't understand why he did that, or why did he do that? And I'm like, bro, that's in the book. Like, they were literally listening to the book fans. So we feel special. Like, we feel like our ship captains thought of us when they made this show. This is why we go so hard for them. This is why they get billboards. People paying their money together to get billboards. This is why we support their causes. This is why we give money to whatever donations they're doing, or we show them love. We're always wanting to know what films they're
Trying to get them to number one.
Trying to get them number one. Trying to make sure they get together. Like, it's just all of the things that we do as a fandom that we love them. And if any way I can bring my piece to it, or you can bring your piece to it, do it. That's why I said, if you want to be that person to support them, talk about them, give them all the light. Because Polin, let me tell you one now, Polin fans do not play about Polin. We do not play about those two. They are our pride and joy. They are our babies. I know I always say that. They're my babies. I'm like, those are my boobs. Those are my babies. Like, do not mess with my babies. So it's just a soft spot for me. And so for me, especially because I met one of them, it's even more of a soft spot. It's like, I feel like I'm deaded this, like, I feel like I'm like a soldier or like a bodyguard. And like, anybody who talks about him, like, what are you saying? What do you mean? Like, what did Luke do to you? Because he didn't do anything. I don't know why you're coming for him. Be chill. Like, it's just a overprotectiveness that I have for him. And I don't know if it's because I met him already, so that's probably why. But again, it's just amazing. But I just feel like, as a whole, like, this fandom is such a good fandom. As far as the Polin fandom, the Bridgerton fandom as a whole is good, but the Polin fandom, I just always knew that we were very dedicated. Like, very dedicated. We were just very dedicated because we really love this book. And I feel like, again, when they thought of us, it was like, yeah, we're going to make sure that everybody knows about this couple. And they did. And they smashed it. So, yeah, it's like, we're going to get them to number one. They're going to get to number one. I mean,
I believe it. I really do believe it.
No, they're going to get to number one. If I have to continue to make videos of talking about this show, they were going to get to number one. Like,
yeah. And we're going to celebrate every time they hit a milestone. They go back up. They go up.
Every single time. Like, every time they get another number, I'm going to be like, yep. And we come up to that number one spot, because that's it. But yeah, absolutely. But this was so fun. I know you have to go.
Yeah, thank you, Mia.
Of course. I was like, I saw you online. I was like, let me see if I can catch her now, because I don't have my DMs on. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to DM her, because you don't have Instagram.
I didn't know either.
Like, I don't even have my DMs on Instagram. I don't talk to nobody, y'all. Like, you have to talk to me in comments, because I'm like, I've gotten people harassing me in my DMs. I have to turn this off, because it gets really bad to that point where it's just like, nah, I can't. But don't ever.
That's what I always say to folks, that when that happens, it's because something happened. Yeah. If people have to protect themselves to that level, it's because something's happened.
Yeah, no, I've gotten so much blasphemy come at me, and I'm like, I can't do this. So No, it's, but I when you told me the first time you wanted to go live, you like, should I email you? And I was like, I don't want her to think that I'm ignoring her because I'm not doing that. I just don't know how to contact her. So when I saw you online, I was like, oh, let me see if I can get her now to go live with her. So, but no, I am a fan like you. I love the way you break stuff down. You're always breaking stuff down, and I love that because you break it down in a better way. Unlike me, who's just always throwing out the realness in it, I feel like you break it down in a better way. And I think people relate to that more, or it's easier to understand when it's broken down to its, to its extent. But I feel like it's all the same. Like we're all doing the same thing for this love for Polin. Like we're all just giving this love for them, but we're also giving this love for Luke and Nick. And that's just what it is. Like we really love Luke and Nick. We want to see them grow. We want to see them shine. We want to see them be great. So that's all we ever wanted out of this entire situation. So
one of the folks, M. Phillips, had said this in a comment, and I absolutely loved it because I said I actually appreciate every Lucala creator, and every Lucala creator doesn't have to have the same vision. Yeah. They just have to be true to who they are. But M. Phillips had said something to the effect of I know if I want to be messy, I know where to go. If I want to squeal, I know where to go. When I want to be reasonable, I know where to go. And when I want to have unwavering belief, and I think that's you, right? Yeah. I know where to go. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I don't need to be all things to all people because there's other people serving those parts of people. And I said, and not only does it serve different parts of the Lucala community, it serves different parts of who we are as people. Because I don't always want to be reasonable. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do want to just squeal or have unwavering belief, or messy but silently messy.
I am so sorry, y'all. If y'all saw anything, I am apologizing. That is wow.
Okay, well.
Okay, people said they saw nothing. It's all good. So hopefully it will pass, and I will be able to upload this on YouTube.
Yeah,
if not, I gotta figure out how to edit.
To make sure it's towards the end, so just watch it back. Okay. I have to clip out a little part, but I'm sorry. Anyway,
that's all right.
If
it happens.
Go live with me again, just hit me in my comments like, Mia, can we do a quick live? I don't mind doing it because I'm not doing anything right now. So yeah, no, definitely let me know because this was fun. I love having those conversations, and talking about stuff. And anybody who wants to know about stuff in a way where I'm not the only one talking because it's so much to talk. So it's so good to have someone else talk because I'm just I'm always talking. So yeah, but definitely. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. She's such an old lady. She's getting to that age. She's just I don't care. I don't care about anything. I'm like, Mom, you can't be like this. Oh, anyway. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your night or whatever time it is for you over there.
It's 10 o'clock here, yeah. But you have a great rest of your night as well. Thank you guys. Thank you
guys
for having me. Bye.
Bye.